to brain fog, cognitive rehab works. Check us out at leadingedgephysio.com before your next "where'd I put my phone" moment.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The future of female hockey is here. It's season 2 of the Female Super League, the first ever female-only independent hockey division in Western Canada, with teams from British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Featuring 16U, 14U, and 12U divisions, the FSL brings showcase weekends packed with thrilling games, and our 14U and 16U have been pioneering the advanced body-checking rule, empowering young players. The Female Super League, where the best in female hockey takes center ice. Details at femalesuperleague.com.
Want sports talk on the go?
You can listen to 1440 on the AM dial or stream us on your mobile device through apps like Radio Player, iHeart, and Stingray Music.
Edmonton sports fans,
turn to Sports 1440.
1440.
When it snows and you have a Honda, let it blow, let it blow, let it blow. Ditch the driveway shovel, because right now at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo, save up to $400 on Honda dual-stage snowblowers. Take whatever winter throws at you and throw it back with iconic Honda reliability. Available for a limited time only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert, and always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
The Jason Gregor Show. On Sports 1440.
Here's Marcel. Good shake for Marcel. Waits, twists it for Shaker.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Looking for Booker. Caruso defending. Booker eyes the clock. Sun spreading the floor. Push. Raising up. Fires. Oh! Oh! Goes Booker.
Start the new year. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can always get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can email us if you're old school. We still get some emails. Gregor at sports1440.ca. Of course, you can always dial up the same number that you text. That works just as well. Lots to discuss. Of course, NFL playoffs are set. Wild card weekend begins on Saturday. We also are officially into the second half of the season in the NHL. The second half of the year started like the first half with an Oilers loss on home ice and rather frustrating loss. I don't think they played very well at all against the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, if you remember the opening game of the season, they had a 3-0 lead and then blew it against the Calgary Flames, so that wasn't great. But the Oilers, in a situation where they got to reduce their goals against, it's just, frankly, it's not remotely acceptable. You're not going to win cups being 29th in goals against. So, you could talk about, we need more scoring in the depth. Sure. The Oilers are 6th in the league in scoring. Limit goals against, and they will have a better chance to win. Unless you believe that, let's just win every game 5-4. Now, from my perspective, that'd be highly entertaining. But I don't think the coach or the players realize that that's a recipe for success. You can have some run and gun games through the course of the season, but I don't think you can hover around 29th all year in goals against and think that suddenly you're going to flip a switch. They got to start getting they got to start dimming the offensive lights of the opposition here in the second half. And the month of January presents a good opportunity with a lot of home games, some road games against, not dominant teams by any stretch of the imagination. Winnipeg, Nashville, Chicago, they're not forces right now. Now, that doesn't mean that you can just skate all over them, but, it's not like the Oilers got to go on a road to Dallas, Minnesota, or Colorado. It's a little bit different when you're facing Chicago, Nashville, and the Winnipeg Jets, who are in the basement of the calendar year started. If you would have given me 10 guesses on who would be dead last in the NHL on the first Monday of 2026, there's no chance I would have guessed Winnipeg. They wouldn't have been, I had Jets as a playoff team, so I wouldn't have had them in dead last. Oh my goodness, what a brutal. And it's not like it's getting better. They've lost 4 in a row. They were bad, and now they're plummeting even worse into the depths. Now, the only good news for the Winnipeg Jets is, as bad as they played, and they can look at it and say, ooh, geez, I don't know. But they're what? I think 8 points out of a playoff spot right now in the West. So, or actually it's 9. So it's 9, but you got a boatload of teams. They're literally on the cusp of being out of it. You look at Columbus. Columbus isn't dead last in the East. They won 4 out of 5 in regulation. And in that 10-game stretch, they gained no points on the 4th place team in their division, and they gained a grand total of 2 points in the race for the second wildcard spot. And then since then, they lost the game in regulation, lost in overtime, and boom. They look and say, oh, we're only 5 points out of the playoffs, which is true in the East. But when you've got that many teams, you can win 3 in a row, but somebody else is winning 3 in a row. So you might leapfrog the Rangers and the Maple Leafs, but then you don't catch the Devils or the Bruins, and you really don't get any ground in the big picture. So it's a wild race. It's entertaining. You look at every day, you could look and say, oh, this team was 2nd. Now they're 7th in a division. Literally from a Monday to a Friday, that can happen. So it is good if you like watching that sort of thing. Some would say it's a little demonic, but either way, it'll be interesting. So we'll talk Oilers. We're going to talk some NFL on the program today. Also, we'll hear from Corey Lavalette talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, who themselves, the Hurricanes up until their victory yesterday, and maybe that kind of stopped the bleeding. They'd allowed 32 goals in 7 games. The Carolina Hurricanes, who have pretty much been one of the most consistent teams in the NHL for the last few years. They're great in the regular season. We know who they are. They're not good enough to win in the playoffs, but they're really good in the regular season. So talk that. Kevin Woodley will be by. We got a lot of goaltending to get to. Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM, Tater in the 2-minute warning, Spec, and much, much more. I'm Jason Gregor. Declan Kruger is in for Connor Halley as he has taken a few days off. Deck, what was your biggest takeaway from NFL weekend?
Yeah, kind of a unique one. My biggest takeaway is I want kickers out of the game. And I kind of say this obviously tongue-in-cheek with a little bit of sarcasm, but my argument for not wanting kickers there, and again, I say this knowing it's not going to happen. I say this a little tongue-in-cheek, but kickers are and it's very skillful. You need a lot of skill to be a kicker. It's tough to do. Not just anyone off the street can do it. I want to acknowledge that. But it is the fact that games can be decided by plays and by players that are so opposite of what happens for the other 95% of the game is just something that doesn't sit right with me. The fact a game can have that finish it does, where Calvin Austin gets the touchdown and the Ravens come right back down, 4th and 7, boom, up the seam to Likely. And then all of a sudden you have a guy who isn't really akin to the rest of the guys on the team decide the game. That's why I'm out. No kickers. Rule change when I'm commish.
But the kicker allowed them to have a chance to win the game because Boswell missed it for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, listen, it's not a perfect system I have crafted out yet, but I'll workshop it.
What about the college football playoffs?
Oh my goodness. I mean, what Indiana is doing and what Kurt Signetti has done with that team, I'll try and keep this really quick, is incredible. I tried to give a description on Low Tide Show. There isn't really an apt one because college is so different from the NHL. Like if you're a coach in the NHL, you're a coach in the NHL. Obviously, Toronto, New York, they have a little bit more history than, say, Columbus or Carolina, but you're a coach in the NHL. In college, if you're a good coach at Indiana, Notre Dame's calling, Ohio State's calling, Georgia's calling, et cetera, et cetera. The allocation of resources are different. NIL funds are different. The best comparison I could give, and it's not perfect, is if Kurt Signetti took the worst team in the AHL and turned them into the Florida Panthers. And that's a little premature because they haven't quite won yet, but it's incredible. The way they stomped Bama was mind-blowing. I'm so happy for them. My team plays them next. I don't love that, but incredible story, the best one in sports right now.
Ole Miss with a big win over Georgia. The Bulldogs, they don't ever have blown leads in the second half, but they did, and that's what makes football entertaining. Ohio State weren't who they thought they were. I'll say that. Miami, who a lot of people didn't like that they got in, I guess they showed the people they were deserving of get in because now they've knocked off the number 7 and the number 2 seeds, and now they'll take on number 6 Ole Miss. Like, it won't be a shock if they get to the final.
No, absolutely not. And here's the thing about that Ole Miss Miami matchup. Miami finally had, they won 2 games against Texas A&M and Ohio State, where I would say they didn't have the matchup advantage. Now they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can win the line of scrimmage and should win the line of scrimmage going away on both sides of the ball versus Ole Miss. So they've won 2 games that they probably weren't supposed to have a formula to win, and they've done it anyway. Now they actually have a formula to win. So imagine how scary and how good they can be when that's the case. Really looking forward to that one.
Now, we welcome to the show former NHLer Sean Brown. Joined us. Brownie, how you doing?
Good. You have a good holiday?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was busy. We had 2 tournaments, which is probably not ideal, but it was fun.
How did the Ben's Cup go for you?
We lost in the B final? Oh, sorry, we won the B final. Didn't lose.
Okay.
So, yeah, we lost our first game, then won every game after that.
So did you get one of those rings?
Well, my son got one because he made the all-star fundraising team thing. So, yeah, those rings look pretty good.
They look really cool.
Yeah, it looked good on his shelf, right? Like, he's like, Dad, I'm not going to wear it. But he likes how it looks, right?
Yeah.
It comes with a box and everything. He really liked the socks that he got because they're kind of different material. So a little lighter, stretchier. So they'll be good practice socks because obviously orange isn't the color in St. Albert, but it'll be good for practice. And then we were in Lloydminster for a tournament and went 3-1 again. So we just can't win our first game of the tournament. That's the problem. Then we can reel off wins after that. It's kind of weird. But
not motivating the kids.
Clearly, yeah, it's terrible coaching. It's terrible coaching, not getting them ready to play. So, but it's fun. Got a lot of hockey over the holidays. Now minor hockey week starts this weekend for teams. So it's, right back at it. So it should be good. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I recorded the Order game. I watched it because to try to watch when you're with a lot of people is hard to see, but I regretted watching again when I got home on Sunday because God, it might have looked worse the second time I watched it. They were not good at all.
Yeah, against
the Flyers. Like the Flyers look so much faster, and they just looked infinitely more engaged than Edmonton. That's what came out to me. I was just like, look how many battles they're winning. Look how many races to the pucks they're winning.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because, I have Instat there. And I make up different clips for different kids and my kid and, for learning opportunities. And obviously a lot of the local kids are Oilers fans. So if you want to get them to buy in, it's nice to see, the players that they're growing up watching. And as I'm watching that game and I'm making some clips, that's one thing that I definitely noticed and took out of that game is how well Philadelphia checked. And when you look at the top teams in the league and, when you go to Oiler games and they're playing those top teams, that's one thing they consistently do is each line, whether it's a skilled line or it's their fourth line, is they all check very well. I mean, you got to be able to skate in today's game and all those details, whether it's staying over top of guys, having good sticks, those good teams do that consistently. They take time and space away and Philadelphia with, that's typical Rick Tocchet kind of hockey. He's a hard-nosed player when he played, and I'm sure he demands whether, you're a fourth line or you're a skilled guy, there's a certain way and expectation that you have to play, and they've kind of bought into it, and they make it tough. And, the Oilers, for as skilled as they are, I think for them to kind of get out of where they're at right now, that consistency without the puck and the will to battle and compete to get it back, because they have the skill. There's no question. I mean, and they're in it because they have the two best players in the world. That's the most amazing thing. So, defense is hard work and offense is fun. They just kind of have to get their nose a little bit dirty. And I'm sure the other areas of players' games will kind of take care of itself.
Well, I look at the Oilers, the 29th in goals against all year long. Like it's more than just 2 games. This has been a habit. It looked like they kind of had figured it out in December. I thought for that 10-game stretch, they went 7-3. They didn't give up many goals. They had some really solid games defensively where the goaltenders were almost sitting in a rocking chair some nights. But that just went away. And you're not going to play that way every night. I understand it. But they're now entering this month, and it didn't start good, the first game. But they're entering January here where they should be taking advantage of a favorable schedule against a lot of teams that are below them in the standings and didn't start very well. So we'll see how they bounce back. Now, the good news is it's Nashville where the Oilers have beat the for fun Leon Draisaitl. There's no player in the NHL who could use the term "I'm your daddy" more than Leon Draisaitl when it comes to the Nashville Predators. Like right now, it's ridiculous what he does against the Predators. And so maybe that'll get him. He's in a little bit of a funk, but it's overall, to me, the biggest concern for the Oilers is their team defense as a group. Goaltending some nights isn't good enough. Team defense, good enough. They still gift too many goals, Brownie. Like if the team has to work hard for a goal, I can live with it. When you just gift them, like it just sucks the life out of your team so quickly.
Yeah, they definitely aren't making teams necessarily come in and earn it shift after shift and period. And the consistency is just not there. I mean, the most remarkable thing is, I know Draisaitl might be on a little bit of might be struggling a little bit right now, but for the most part, those guys are they're playing at an elite level and they're where they're at because of those two. But I just look at this lull and these opportunities for other guys in the lineup that are playing, for guys that aren't in the lineup to get an opportunity to play, because no one seems to be seizing those moments and opportunities. So, good on their superstars for being, elite and consistent for the better part of the season. But this is, it's a tall order to ask. You can't be on your game, for the whole season, but there are opportunities for other guys to kind of elevate their game and to bring some energy and some enthusiasm to kind of pick up, other guys on the team. But right now it just seems to be certain, 2 guys that are kind of dragging the majority through the mud right now.
Oh, 100%. Like there's lots. You look at, Frederic and Mangiapane, it looks like based on practice today, they'll both be healthy scratches tomorrow. Neither one's really got anything going. Kapanen's coming back in the lineup. Like that's the thing. Like more competition gets added every day. So Kapanen comes in. Hudson, I expect that he'll be placed or just reassigned, doesn't need waivers. So he'll go back and join the team. They play in Abbotsford tomorrow. So he'll get in time, play the game tomorrow. Jake Wallman is shooting for next week to return somewhere on that road trip in Nashville or Chicago. Most likely, probably the second half of a back-to-back. Rarely do they bring the guy back and have him play back-to-back nights, his first games in a row. So, that'll add something. They'll have to make a significant roster change then just because of Wallman's cap hit. And, Mangiapane's name is out there a lot. We'll see. It hasn't worked for him in Edmonton. People say, why? I'm like, well, first of all, it's not like it worked a lot in Washington either for Mangiapane if you look at his stats, right? At best, he's basically a 17 or 18 goal scorer who had the one great year in Calgary. That's clearly the outlier. If you look at all the other 6 years, that's the outlier. And I'll say this about the Oilers pro scouting is they clearly have a player they like, but they have yet to realize that player doesn't work here. Arvidsson, Skinner, Mangiapane, they're all the same player, just a different name, right? They have little small details, but none of them are great movers of the puck quick, and that doesn't work with the Oilers centers. You got to be a winger who can move the puck. Like Zach Hyman doesn't hold on to the puck long, right? Yeah. Podkolzin doesn't hold on to the puck long. Now they're unreal forecheckers, right? And they get the puck to the guys. So that's what you need, right? Like you need a shooter. Rosovic played well with him. Now he can carry the puck and he's fast, but even him, he can move the puck. And I watch Mangiapane. It's like with Ike Howard, the one thing Ike Howard's going to have to improve on in his game, he's going to have to move the puck quicker. If you're going to want to play in top 6 in Edmonton, you can't be a winger who holds onto the puck a ton. Now you can in certain cases, of course. But when you got those guys, you got to move the puck, Brownie.
Yeah, it's very situational, but you have to be able to add some value when you're not necessarily putting up some points, right? And Mangiapane, when you think of him, he's, like you said, he puts up 16 to 17, 18 goals. But I also see another side of his game where he can really rat it up and be a real agitator. And I haven't seen a ton of that, right? And so when you look at the Oilers lineup, I mean, there's two guys that are offensive and put up points consistently, and there's some other guys that, you know, are still trying to figure out their identity. And I just think that for the Oilers, there's some guys that, okay, hey, it's not going great. It's not always going to go great. But what are the other things in your game that you're going to be able to do, you know, while you kind of are going through this funk, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And I don't see enough guys. And like you said, they're very similar. Like Henrique at this point in his career, like what else, if he's not scoring, and what is he going to do? He's never, I don't think, necessarily been an overly physical, hard to play against forward.
He's a
right?
fourth line center who can win faceoff, skill penalties. That's what he is. He's not a third line center anymore.
Yeah. So, you know, and you look at Janmark. I mean, he's not necessarily putting up points, but there's another level. I don't know if you necessarily need that as much as that will come as he starts to muck it up, as he starts to play a little bit harder, as he starts to have a little bit more of an edge on his game. I just think there needs to be that if you're not doing one thing, you got to be doing something to get into the lineup and contribute to somehow helping the cause. And right now, I think as I watch teams come in and I watch the Oilers play, they have moments where they're hard to play against and they compete and everything looks good. But the consistency with that right now, teams don't come in here. I don't feel like they come out of here thinking, wow, man, they're hard to play against. I think they come in here and think, wow, they got two of the best players in the world. We got to be aware of them, and they're good and they can beat you. Those two can beat you alone. But when you come in here, I just don't feel that they come in here thinking, man, this is going to be a hard in your face.
Oh God,
game.
no, not right now. No question. And hard, just give me, you check with your stick. Sometimes you check with your shoulders. You're physical, aggressive. And when the Oilers play well, they are hard to play against because they attack and their speed can be like, oh my God, I'm getting turnstiled all game, right? Doesn't always have to be physical, but man, right from the get, I think maybe 3 minutes in that Philly game was good. Like I couldn't believe they went 13 or 14 minutes without a shot on goal. Yeah. Like on home ice in the third period of a game, you're trailing. Like, come on, they didn't have anything.
And not an answer, right? There's no like, okay, well, who's going to step up here? I mean, obviously Nurse came in there and did what he did, but to me, it's not even about the fighting.
Yeah.
It's not even about the fighting. The fighting is nice, but it's the things that guys are willing to do that are outside of their skill set. I mean, they got Nashville coming in. I've seen the highlights there where Steven Stamkos, blocked a shot at the end of the game. That's not typically, something that you think about, him doing, but that's something that, he's doing at this point in his career to get, to add value. It's just the good teams and the good players, do things like that. And where is that right now throughout the Oilers lineup, that desperation and guys being like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't normally do this, but watch this. And when you do that, that shows the healthiness of your team, and guys rally and get behind that. And it goes a long way.
Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you, Sports 1440. When we return, we'll get lots of your texts, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Kevin Woodley will be by. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where casinos, live dealer, lottery, instance, all in one place. PlayAlberta.ca.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars, packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
No fluff, no fillers, just pure entertainment. Sports 1440 brings the heat with bold opinions, big personalities, and Edmonton's fiercest fans. This is your turf. This is Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and people who suffer brain fog might think it's just going to be part of their life. But listen, I've seen a 38-year-old man managing a concussion read her kid a bedtime story without losing the plot, all because of cognitive rehab that rewires the brain like a GPS reboot. Your brain isn't broken, it's buffering. One missed beat in focus, memory, or balance snowballs into frustration, falls, or forgotten keys. Stroke, concussion, long COVID, even aging can all lead to brain fog. Cognitive rehab works. Check us out at leadingedgephysio.com before your next "where'd I put my phone" moment.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The future of female hockey is here. It's season 2 of the Female Super League, the first ever female-only independent hockey division in Western Canada, with teams from British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Featuring 16U, 14U, and 12U divisions, the FSL brings showcase weekends packed with thrilling games, and our 14U and 16U have been pioneering the advanced body checking rule, empowering young players. The Female Super League, where the best in female hockey takes center ice. Details at femalesuperleague.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I've got a few texts. Greg's, when did you say Wallman's back next week? Look for I talked to Jake today. He says he's getting rather stir crazy. Like any player, you sit out for that long and you want to play. And, you know, he'd skated for a bit and it just basically had a real bad bone bruise. It turned out to be a little bit of a fracture. Blocked that shot in Tampa Bay. And he goes, man, I blocked a lot of shots. It's just, sometimes it just gets you in the right spot. It's, you know, I blocked a lot of shots with my feet and sometimes it's nothing. And then the next time you're out for 6 to 8 weeks.
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, how hard guys shoot the puck and how little material there actually is.
Well, I'm surprised more guys aren't using those skate shot blockers, man.
Yeah. Well, isn't it funny? When I played, it was about trying to get your skates, you know, as less material and as stiff as possible. Then all of a sudden, you know, they come up with this technology and there's less material and they're stiff as possible. Now we're adding material.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
But that like that different plastic, I get why. Like, because I've seen like Chris Russell wore it, lots of other guys wore it, and it works, right? Like it protects your foot, and it doesn't. Nowadays, you can't tell me that the trainers, you know, you can manipulate it because some guys guys go more on their edges, so you don't want it to touch the ice. And I'm like, well, yeah, cut it down so it doesn't go below your boot,
Yeah.
then it's you're not cutting that far. Like,
Yeah.
let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah. That just tells you, what I remember Barry Stafford. I mean, the things that he would jimmy up and the skill that he had to manipulate your equipment, whether it's your skates, your elbow pads. I mean, it's quite remarkable what some of those trainers can do to kind of make some adjustments. But I mean, if anyone's played hockey and, which we all have, I don't think there's any worse feeling than taking a shot off the foot, especially because it feels like it's broken. But you obviously can't, you can't take your skate out of your boot. Otherwise it's not going back in. Right. And just that pain is just awful.
This coming down, the Oil Kings have acquired forward Aaron Obobaifo from the Giants in exchange for Joe Aginla. So that trade just happening here a few moments ago from the Edmonton Oil Kings. And, there's also the Giants get a conditional third round pick in 2028. So interesting. Again, a 1 year younger. He's an 08 to an 07, but interesting deal. So I have to look into that one a little bit more. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of the best charter companies in the province. Will take you and your group to your next destination in style for teams, whether you got weddings, whether you got company outings. Check it out, silentrides.ca. Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Kev, how you doing, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys, too. I heard, Sean, I heard you guys talking about no worse feeling than blocking a shot off the skate. And since we've gotten rid of cowlings on goalie skates, goalies can finally relate to that. Every once in a while, that skate will stick out and you'll get one right off the toe sort of feel that. But I can't think of one area that's worse. And on that note, we were once introduced, had a company send us, and strangely enough, I could not find any testers for this. In goal, we have a whole bunch of goalies that are always eager to test the latest and greatest, but nobody wanted to test the bulletproof cup that was sent to In Goal Magazine. I laughed because goalies wear like 3 cups, right? Like a player's cup and then a double cup in front of it. And I sort of talked to a few trainers. There's a couple of incidents over the years here in Vancouver where a guy would take one in a bad spot. And it's like, why don't these guys wear the bulletproof cup? And again, like me not wearing a dangler around my neck as a goalie or guys not wearing shot blockers, it's like, it's too heavy. Like I'm thinking if there's one thing we're protecting here, guys, it's that. And then last year, first time I saw it, Victor Mancini traded from the Rangers, talking to him in front of his locker stall, and I see sitting on the back the bulletproof cup. So it'll take it'll take a slug 38 evidently. Yet again, I could not find any testers for that one.
Okay. All right. Did not know that. So
it exists.
Well, goalies are, let's be honest here. Goalies are a little bit of a different breed. No question about it. So, and what they'll use. Now let's get into to some of it. Let's start, because the teams, Kev, have been announced. I don't think there's any surprise for Canada or the USA really on the goalies. I know you could have made an argument for Wedgwood to go, not Wedgwood, Blackwood to go, I think for Team Canada. But, there they go. You look at the way Winnipeg's playing. What about that American starting goalie job? How much up in the air do you think it is, or is this Hellebuck automatically?
I still think it's Hellebuck automatically. Obviously, the Jets are having a really tough season up until his injury, and the numbers have sort of dipped since he came back, and he came back quickly from a knee surgery. But up until that point, like I made this point a few times, like Winnipeg was so good last year that I understood the Hart Trophy. The reality was up until his knee surgery, he was actually playing better this year than he was last year because the bottom dropped out defensively and they were asking him to do so much more and he was delivering. And so I think the fact that he's able to do both, you can sort of count on him finding his game, as hard as that is behind a team defending as poorly as the Jets are. But I still think it's his job. There is a caveat there, however. Jake Ottinger, who we've talked about in the past, and I haven't been so much critical of him as the perception of him, like as this elite top 5 guy, when the reality was for the previous 3 seasons, he had basically performed at an NHL average level behind an exceptional defending team in Dallas. Well, they've loosened up and he's gotten better. his numbers are now flirting with top 10 in the National Hockey League this year. And so I almost want to point it out just because of that criticism in the past, as much as it was more about the perception than him. I see a guy who's narrowed his stance a little bit. He's not getting caught locked in low and wide, something we saw in the playoffs in the Western Conference Final the past couple of years. He looks like he's made some adjustments in his game, and the numbers are sort of finally matching the reputation and hype. He's playing at a really high level for the Dallas Stars. And so if anybody's going to make a dent, if Connor Hellebuck can't turn it around coming off the injury, it's going to be Jake Ottinger.
Kevin, competition brings out the best in everyone. I think Pickard, since the trade, has been playing better. How do you feel about the goalie rotation and how Pickard has been playing?
Yeah, he's been really good. I sort of put that in the notes today, or something I wanted to talk about, because as much as I believe they should get Connor Ingram as many starts as they can while he's up here to make sure they know what they have and get him comfortable. Like, Calvin Pickard's top 10 in the NHL since the trade in adjusted save percentage. The baseline has finally risen. Remember, we talked about how he had an 865 expected save percentage for much of the year. It's up to 881 since the trade, and he's outperforming it by better than 2 goals for every 100 shots, like 2.2%, which is 11th in the National Hockey League, tied for 10th with Alex Lyon over that stretch. And in the last couple of weeks, obviously that Winnipeg game helps. The last couple of weeks, it's well inside the top 10. So I don't know whether it's competition. Part of this is probably the environment finally improving because it was so bad early on for him. Whatever the reason, he is playing at a really high level for them right now. And that's, it's going to make for some interesting decisions, because Connor Ingram has, despite some ups and downs, showed some moments where he's been at a high level as well. And when Tristan Jarry gets back, I'm really curious to see what they do. But full marks to Calvin Pickard, whose numbers were at the opposite end of the spectrum league-wide early this season. Nice to see him back playing at a really, really high level right now.
You said top 10 in adjusted save percentage since the trade.
Yeah.
Right?
December 12th. Yeah. So, and flirting with top 10. He's like a fraction of a percentage point behind Alex Lyon. So technically tied with Lyon.
Oh, okay. Hey, that segues perfect into Buffalo and the Lyon injury. And what do you think that does for the Sabres, who obviously were on a great run, and then he gets banged up?
Well, in a much smaller sample size, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has been really good up until the last start. Like, that was one where a couple went through him that you don't want to see, especially as a big goaltender who plays deep, sort of under him. Some good looks, but again, like, those are the ones that it's a tough one, right? Because it doesn't look good. That's the cliche. You don't want anything through you or under you, and yet you're trying to encourage patience. And the cost of patience protecting the corners of the net is sometimes those will go in. But there were a couple in that game, and it stood out. Up until that point, UPL had been playing at a really high level as well. Now, listen, like, some of this is just the momentum and the role that the Buffalo Sabres was on. It's a tiny sample size for him. Like, up until that game, it was just 3 games during the 10-game stretch, but he was really good in those games. So I don't know that the Alex Lyon injury hurts them as much as people might believe, because Lyon was such a big part of this. Outside of, I haven't looked at their schedule and seen, like, how intense does it get? Do they have a bunch of back-to-backs coming up? And I haven't seen an update on where Colton Ellis is as an option, or whether they're going to have to go down to the farm and maybe bring up a guy like Devin Levi. That part I haven't seen. So, but as far as UPL goes, during that 10-game streak, he was playing really well. Needs to have a bounce back, and we'll see him against the Canucks tomorrow night. Needs to have a bounce back from his last start. They couldn't get it to 11, but up until that point, he'd been really good for them as well.
We've lost track a little bit of Stuart Skinner. How is he doing since the trade? And have you had a chance to look into that at all?
I've watched a couple games, and there's been some moments that look familiar, but overall, it might surprise people to know that he's 27th in adjusted save percentage since the trade, despite a couple of really rough starts and a couple of rough moments within there, which is understandable. Now, you're not going to see that in the raw numbers, guys. Like, the raw numbers are going to look ugly because the baseline is so low. Pittsburgh hasn't defended well in front of them. We talked about Picard early in the year having an 865. Skinner's 864 right now since he arrived in Pittsburgh. But he's outplaying it by almost a full percentage point, a goal for every 100 shots, which doesn't seem like a huge number, but it's enough to be 25th, 26th in that neighborhood in the National Hockey League since the trade. So in a much tougher environment than what he left here, he's outperformed both of the other goalies that have been there as well. Like, Artur Shilov's has fallen off, and in that same stretch is well below expected. So It hasn't. You're right. We've kind of lost track of it. Me too. But when I started looking into it and started looking at some of the videos, some of it looks familiar. But he actually overall hasn't looked that bad, and he hasn't played that bad since he got to Pittsburgh.
Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Kev, what about the Ottawa Senators? And you look at their overall save percentage, look at their penalty kill. Like there's not a lot to love there. Now, of course, Allmark's gone for undetermined amount of time. What do you make of the Senators? How much is it defensive environment? How much is it goaltending? And how big of a concern is it? Is that going to derail their playoff chances?
Well, I guess the big question is how long is Linus Allmark out for? And I don't have that answer. Obviously, anytime it's a personal matter, you leave it at that. But for their sake, you hope it's not out too long. For his sake, too, obviously, for the person, you hope that everything's okay and he can get back to the day job, so to speak. Because Levi Merilainen, after a great season last year, and we sort of noted it as they went to him as the backup this year, he'd earned it, but it was important to recognize that it was somewhat sheltered minutes and the expected save percentage was high. In other words, they protected him. Out of 63 goalies right now, out of 72 goalies in the NHL right now, he's 62nd in adjusted save percentage. He is well down. It's basically almost a goal a game that he's giving up below your average goaltender. And Ottawa, it's not the defensive environment. After a slow start defensively for the past couple of months, they have been really, really good. Since December 1st, even the PK second in the league. 5-on-5 off the rush, first in the league. Overall expected goals, 5-on-5 against. High danger chances, fourth in the league. They are not giving up a ton of high danger chances, and the goaltending just hasn't picked them up. Allmark started to look like he was starting to find his game and get back into a bit of a rhythm, still 43rd on that list overall in adjusted save percentage, which is obviously not what they're paying him for, not what you expect out of him given his pedigree. But at least he was trending in the right direction. With him out, I'm curious to see whether they decide to go another way, because it's pretty much just youth and inexperience with Hunter Shepard and Mads Sogard behind Levi Merilainen. So unless one of those guys can get in there and just quickly get on a roll, they might, again, depending on what they know or don't know about Allmark's timeline, they might need to look for some help, because this is a season that by the underlying numbers shouldn't be where it is. I rarely sort of play the blame the goalies card, but in this case, when I look at the underlying defensive metrics, it's sort of hard to find fault with anybody but the goalies.
Speaking of goalies, the Nashville Predators are in town. Justus Annunen just signed a 2-year extension with Nashville. Hasn't played a whole bunch, but when he has, his numbers are actually really good, especially since the middle of November. UC Saros, no surprise. He started to play a little bit better. Is he playing better, or has the environment cleaned up that much in Nashville?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Saros has definitely played better. I talked about how last year it wasn't on him. Like the first third of the season, by the end of the year, it had kind of fallen apart. But the first third of the season, UC Saros should have been a Vezina Trophy candidate. Like he was so good early on, and they totally wasted it. The environment has steadied a little bit. His expected save percentage is still well below league. It's .881. He's outperforming it by almost 2%, which, that's sort of since December 1st. Justus Annunen 3.5%. So as you said, small sample, 3 games, but performing at a top 5 level in those 3 games. They've got a nice balance. Obviously, anytime you're getting that from both your guys, it tells you that the defensive play, like the environment, has improved. Saros gets the harder minutes, but he's handling them overall pretty well. Like they don't have a goaltending problem since they've started playing better in front of both their guys. They've both been really good. Like I said, Annunen's producing better numbers, but in a pretty protected environment and a much smaller sample. So it's not like you look at him and forecast, him taking over or getting more starts. But at least when they go to him, like I felt like a stretch last year when they went to him, just didn't give them much of a chance. He really struggled last year. And ironically, like when I looked at his numbers in Colorado, I was almost surprised they traded him. Obviously, that's worked out well for the Avs in terms of what they got in return. Scott Wedgwood and Blackwood being so good. But he had some really good underlying numbers in Colorado, and we're finally starting to see that now that he's settled into Nashville. So there is upside there, but UC Saros is still your clear number 1 and a guy who's a deserved Olympian.
Is Grubauer going to lead Seattle to the playoffs?
Oh, man. They're kind of in a rotation right now, right? Like they're going back and forth between him and Joey Decord. They've gone back and forth. I think tonight will be 8 straight assuming it's Grubauer in Calgary, and I haven't looked at sort of the projected starters, but that would be my assumption. Philip Grubauer is top 10 in the National Hockey League in adjusted save percentage right now. And again, this is something that we sort of saw last year coming. You know, I mean, this is a guy who's out of the NHL, goes to the American League, rediscovers a little love for the position. They bring in the goalie coach, promote him from the American Hockey League into Seattle this year. I thought muddied the waters as much as I'm a bigger fan of a 3-goalie rotation than most people are because of what it allows you to do to rest for your number one. I think that kind of muddied the waters when Grubauer looked like he was ready to take off, and it slowed his start. But sort of since Matt Murray, who's skating and is pretty close, but since he got injured and they just went to the two of them, Grubauer's been excellent. And again, I know nobody's going to take that risk in the summer, but when I looked at his numbers, I'm like, man, like I would have been tempted to see if you could get him on his final year of his deal at half price in the summer. And he's performing at a level that makes it look like that would have been a wise bet. Will it be enough to get them in the playoffs? Man, they're so limited offensively, but they defend really well for Lane Lambert, and they're getting really good goaltending behind it. Led by Grubauer right now. Like Decord's numbers aren't bad, but Grubauer's are legit top 10 in the National Hockey League and have been for most of the season.
Kev, great stuff, man. As always, we appreciate it. We will chat with you next Monday. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
It's Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. So some positive numbers if you miss it there. Calvin Pickard, top 10 and adjusted save percentage since the trade of Stu Skinner. And you know what? Hey, the trade, sometimes trades are made. They say he shakes guys up and he looks, Ingram's up here, man. Calvin Pickard's playing like a guy who's like, I don't want to lose my NHL job. And that's not a bad thing, right? Now, it helps a little bit better environment for sure. That'll help a lot, but he's also played better. It's a combination of both. We'll take a quick break. Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger, Sean Brown, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Quick break. We'll come back and there is lots of juicy matchups to discuss next.
When the ground freezes, you wonder how anything can get done. And instead of staying outside in temperatures that would make a polar bear cry, you head inside where it's toasty and warm. But that's not what GS Construction does. Because while the ground freezes above, we plan below, rebuilding and revitalizing the systems that keep our communities working year after year. Now, don't worry. GS Construction promises to do everything safely and efficiently, and we'll wear our extra warm clothing outside. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. Pre-game warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts, and play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
Boombox, baby, about to get a little boondock.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.246, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. The bronze medal game, Canada and Finland's underway. Sam O'Reilly had made it 1-0 for Canada. The Finns just rebounded, and it is now 1-1. Of course, the winner gets a medal. And I know they don't, someone says, hey, I'd rather win bronze than lose silver, and there's probably something to be said about that. But you know what? Both these teams, that's a tough one. You go to bed thinking you could have won the gold. That was your goal, and then you lose it, and then you got to play the next day. But hey, teaches you a little adversity, so that'll be good. Let's get to our NFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. And it was a wild weekend in the National Football League. We know all the matchups coming up in Wild Card Weekend. Bill Bender from the Sporting News joins us. And Bill, there's coach firings, there's GM firings. We got the matchups in the playoffs. And man, if you have to pick, like, which matchup intrigues you the most and why?
Packers. I mean, because it's not just for this year, it's for next year. It's for, I don't know that either one of those teams can win the Super Bowl, but the first two games were so compelling and close, and the way the Bears won the last one, Green Bay coming in there losing 4 in a row. Yeah, that's the one. And I had this thought today. The article will run tomorrow. We ranked the quarterbacks in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of that playoff history and everything. If you're a Green Bay fan, which I am, would you rather have Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers in this game? And it's a real question. I mean, the answer to me is Love. But man, Aaron looked pretty good last night.
Yeah, I know he did. He, like everybody else, looked a lot better when the Ravens kicker missed the kick. And then, moments earlier, the Steelers kicker had missed a convert, which is wild. But you look at now, you mentioned the Bears and the Packers. And I saw a lot of people saying, what were the Eagles thinking? Because the Eagles now, because they rested all their starters, had they played them all, now doesn't guarantee they would have won, but might think better odds that they would have beaten Washington. And then you avoid the 49ers. But now they're playing the 49ers instead of the Packers. And I like the Packers, but I'd still rather face the Packers over the 49ers.
I would too. And I think because of those injuries, because of the uncertainty, because San Francisco is a tough matchup. Now, San Francisco's had their fair share of injuries too. The reason I don't understand it is, why don't you want the second home playoff game?
Yeah. It's a very good point. So we'll try to get a better connection there with Bill in a second here. It's cutting in and out, so we'll redo that one momentarily. But that's the other thing, right? If you win that game, then you get to the second round and you have a home field. So that was a little bit of an odd decision by the Eagles, unless a lot of their starters are more banged up than we think. So if you don't know, it's the Bears and the Packers. The 49ers are on the road in Philly, and the Rams go on the road in Carolina. And man, if you're the LA Rams, that is a pretty tasty matchup, as Bill's back with us. And man, you look at the Rams and the 49ers, you want to talk about a pretty advantageous tiebreaker. They got it, because no offense to the Carolina Panthers, but they're not close. Like, they're the number 4 seed. They're only 8-9. And this is not the first time it's happened in the NFL. It's happened quite often, actually, where, a lower seed team by a significant margin gets the home field because of their own division. But like the Rams and the Panthers, it screams blowout, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think the Rams should take care of business there. They're the one offense I probably trust the most in this whole deal. And, obviously with Matthew Stafford playing at an MVP level, Carolina did beat them the first time, and Carolina does have a nice defense. I just don't know if they have the passing attack. If LA jumps out to a quick start, that the Panthers will be able to hold on and play in this game.
That's fair. Now moving over to the AFC, where there's really some interesting matchups for me. The Broncos get the bye. You got the Patriots and the Chargers. Now the Chargers rest some guys this past weekend. They go to New England. Everybody's like, wow, New England, rookie. Well, not rookie, but young quarterback. The Chargers, their offensive line hasn't been good all year. It's not magically going to be good for me. What do you make of that matchup? Give me a reason why you think the Chargers could pull off the upset.
Jim Harbaugh's a good coach, and maybe they slow the game down, limit the possessions, the defense plays well, get a couple turnovers, and protect Justin Herbert better than they have. I think you just pointed out the largest point of this game is, can you protect Justin Herbert for 4 quarters? He took way too many sacks the last 4 weeks and all season, really. And is Drake May, does he struggle in his first playoff start? Which is entirely possible. Again, when you rank these playoff quarterbacks, you kind of count it. Like Jalen Hurts, for example. If I told you I would rank him 2 or 3 among playoff quarterbacks, it's not judging by the regular season. It's judging by when he gets in the playoffs. He's played in 2 Super Bowls, and he's played very well, and he doesn't lose at home. So we don't know how Drake May is going to respond to this. I think he'll play well, though.
A few coaches lost their jobs. Any surprises to you? And do you think there could possibly be a few more?
Yeah, I think obviously I don't know if there'll be a few more. John Harbaugh would be safe to me. I don't know why the Steelers would move on from Mike Tomlin. Those are 2 that when I see it, I'm kind of like, why? Same with Matt LaFleur. So, maybe we get 1 or 2 more. I think Kevin Stefanski was kind of assumed here in Central Ohio for those, right up the road in Cleveland. And interesting to see where the Cleveland goes from here, because that next coach is going to have a nice draft pick set up, got a new stadium coming. In theory, they should do well.
What about the Lions? And do they need to like clearly their coordinators were missed, I think, in Detroit. I think that was pretty obvious. Do they got to upgrade their coordinators in your eyes?
Maybe the tough ones, because, the offensive staff might need to shuffle a little bit. They were still very good on that side of the ball. Clearly, they missed Ben Johnson. The defense had a couple holes in it, but they did have a lot of injuries. I don't know. I still trust Dan Campbell. They showed yesterday why, in that division, the margin was pretty close. The Lions were a game or 2 away from winning that division. The Vikings, obviously, as rough as it got for them, they still had a winning record. So I do trust Dan Campbell, think they will bounce back next season. I know some Lions fans are haunted by that clip a couple years ago when he said we might have missed our shot, because I think he understands how hard it is to get to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, very true. Now, Bill, the Jacksonville Jaguars have won 8 in a row. They're hosting Buffalo. The Texans have won 9 in a row, and they're in Pittsburgh. 2 of the hottest teams in the same division. Funny enough, in the same division, they got the Colts, who lost 7 in a row. But you look at the Jags, and they played really well. Like Trevor Lawrence, it looks like, kind of the light went off here in the second half of the season. He was a lot more consistent. And then that Texans defense is just great. But what do you make of the odds of those 2 both winning? Do you like one more than the other's chances?
I picked Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl. So I guess even though they've got to get past this one, and Jacksonville's played so well. Trevor Lawrence is playing so well the last 4 weeks. He's been amazing. And Houston probably has the defense I trust the most in the playoffs, but that's tough out in Pittsburgh. So, obviously CJ Stroud won both home starts in the playoffs, lost both road starts. So we're going to see how that goes. But they're both awesome teams. So I was talking to our other NFL writer, Vinny Iyer, today, and he said something that's really stunk with me all day, is this thing's really wide open. Like, if you tell me Jacksonville to the Super Bowl, I'll say, okay. And if you say Houston, I'll say, yeah, okay. I haven't felt that in years past. This is as wide open as it can be.
Well, I totally agree with you. There's going to be a lot of tight games there. I'm looking forward to it. Bill, really appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Take care. Have a great one.
There you go. That's Bill Bender. Join us from Sporting. He's want to cut that short. The line just kept kind of cutting in and out, though. But you look at the NFL, it's wide open. The Broncos are the number 1 seed, and then the Seahawks are the number 1 seed. How about Sam Darnold? There's only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history who have had consecutive 14-win seasons. Sam Darnold on 2 different teams and Tom Brady. Now, Sam Darnold's got a long ways to go. I'm not putting in that category, but it's pretty damn impressive what he's done in Minnesota and Seattle. Now, everybody's going to say it's all going to be about what you do in the playoffs for Sam Darnold here. Regardless of who they play, and they're going to play a good team. You know, like you'd think one of the Rams or 49ers, Packers, one of them's winning. I would assume. I guess it's possible that they all lose, but I think at least one of them's winning, and whoever wins, that's who the Seahawks get. Like, it's kind of wild that the Bears, if they win, I think would have an easier matchup, theoretically, unless the Packers and the 49ers upset, right? So it's kind of crazy just how that NFC West was so tight that might have the meaning the Seahawks and either one of the Rams or the 49ers in the second round.
Isn't this just great for sports? I mean, you talk about the NFL being tight, the NHL, like it's great when you have all these teams that are, you know, maybe overachieving or just having good seasons that you weren't quite expecting. It makes for great television and with playoffs with the suspense of not really, you know, you don't have a team necessarily that's going to just, you know, with KC being out of it, that are just going to run away from it. So it's going to be an interesting year. I'm hoping that my Bills, maybe this is Allen's time to kind of his year to, you know, to kind of take over and win a championship, you know, for me at least. It's exciting to see.
833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Got a lot of text to get to. Deck will update you on the World Junior game and more. I see there's a lot of hand wringing. Oh, Canada loses a game, and every time we lose a game, someone's got to come out with, oh, you know what? The youth level in Canada, everything's in trouble. I'm like, you know what? That was a really good game yesterday. It's a really good game. We didn't lose because we were obsessed with individual play in that game. I didn't find it all.
No, wow, that was entertaining hockey. I mean, it is amazing to me the pace that these kids play at, the skill, the playmaking ability with the lack of time. I mean, I think if you're a hockey fan, regardless, you know, of who won, I mean, you could really appreciate the effort that all these kids have put into it. And it's just, you think about it now. I mean, you know, all these kids from different countries are playing in, you know, major junior, you know, are getting an opportunity to play over here and hone their skills. And I mean, the game is, I think, in a great spot. There's so much information being shared and coaches and knowledge. And I think it's good that all these other countries are, you know, their programs are getting better as well as ours. And I don't think it's a slight at our game. It's a fine line now, and it makes for entertainment.
Quick break. We will get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They take care of your vehicle and your vehicle only. You're focused to enjoy winter driving worry-free. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
World Junior Hockey Championship bronze medal action as Canada leads Finland 2-1 with about 10 minutes to go in the first period. The gold medal game between Czechia and Sweden will take place today at 6:30. In the NHL, 5 games on the schedule, 2 games at 5, the Mammoth and the Rangers, and the Ducks and the Capitals. Late games tonight in the league will see the Minnesota Wild in Los Angeles to take on the Kings. NBA action gets going at 5 o'clock with the Knicks and the Pistons. The Raptors playing host to the Atlanta Hawks at 5:30, and the late games see the Golden State Warriors in LA versus the Clippers and the Utah Jazz in Portland versus the Trailblazers. Other news around the sporting world is the Edmonton Oil Kings announced today they've acquired 2007 born forward Aaron Obafoyo and a conditional 2029 third-round WHL prospects draft pick from the Vancouver Giants in exchange for 2008 born forward Joe Iginla and a conditional 2028 third-round WHL prospects draft pick. Other news around the sporting world, Jonathan Gannon has been fired by the Cardinals after going 15-36 in 3 NFL seasons. The Raiders have fired Pete Carroll after 1 year, and the Browns have fired 2-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski. Elsewhere in the CFL, Riders defensive lineman Micah Johnson has retired, but will stay with the club as a defensive line coach. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update. Portions of this hour are brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.304, Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger, Sean Brown, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. The Con Man will be back on Wednesday. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Of course, live dealer sports. You have, of course, tomorrow, $50 million up for grabs in Lotto Max and 2 Max Millions. And every weekday, you can check it out, the Jason Gregor Show odds boosts. And going with a Capitals victory combined with Mrazek making 25 saves. The Ducks give up a lot. So he could make 25 saves and still give up 5 goals, face 30 shots. I don't think it'd be that big of an ask tonight. So you got that one. We also have a little Rangers Utah Mammoth one as well. So you can check them out at playalberta.ca. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, Canada's program and development needs an overhaul. We are slacking and falling behind. Well, I don't really think we're falling behind. I think if anything, you look at Canada. When was the last time the Canadian men lost the major hockey tournament? When it was best on best amongst the top Canadian men.
Yeah,
2006. Right? They won in 08. Or sorry, they won in 10. They won in 14. Won 4 Nations, which I know didn't have everybody there, but that was the best of the best that was available at that time. So I don't really know if Canada. I think others are catching up, right? You weren't going to maintain your massive gap forever, right? Like when you have more countries, and now you have look at Czechia and how many of their kids are playing CHL hockey. Now, someone could say, you know what? Well, maybe we should stop having imports play in our league because we wanted to dominate our own leagues. You could have that conversation if you want, right? You could do it and say, because if you want to grow your game globally, then you want to have other better countries. And at the younger level, like I said, if Schaefer and Celebrini are playing on Team Canada, which, by the way, they're both eligible to, do you think Canada's a better team? Right? Like, imagine Matthew Schaefer playing at the World Juniors right now. I think he'd be pretty good. Macklin Celebrini would be pretty good. Right? So it's you can't, I think, get too narrow. Now, can we always look to improve some things in hockey? 100%. So you can have that conversation. But claims that we're falling behind, I'm not sure are based on much.
No, I don't know if we need to, dominate. It's like, I think it's good for the game. I think that, when other countries are doing better, it's more entertaining, right? You don't know who's going to win. I thought yesterday's game was an excellent game. It was fast paced, well coached by both teams. And it's one game too, right? Anything can happen in a one game scenario. So, it was close. It's not like, the Canadian, I forget the name of the guy who had the 2 breakaway or on the penalty shot there, had 2 penalty shots, hit the post, had a ton of opportunity. A couple of those go in. We're talking about a different story. So, we're obviously going to criticize and talk about it for a while, but as we watch them play right now, it's entertaining while it's close. And like you said, we do, develop other kids. We develop other goalies. We share information. There's so many more jobs and opportunities. And when you're good at something, other countries want to know why they're competitive too. They want to know why you're good, and they do research, and they do as much as they can to make their programs better. So I think this is a great thing for hockey. Nothing's guaranteed. It's not something that I think Canada can't bounce back from. You're always kind of fine tuning, and it makes us, when you lose, like anything, it makes you kind of reflect, and maybe there are a few adjustments, but the adjustments I don't think guarantee you that we're going to get back to dominating at some point.
Well, I still think we dominate. Canada's there all the time. Like, I thought they played pretty well at 4 Nations, right? Like, you're not, I think people, I guess, depends on what's people's definition of dominating. You have to win every game all the time. That's not going to happen. Canada didn't win every game at the 4 Nations, right? You're not going to win every game, but at the end, Canada wins more than they lose at the men's level. And, World Juniors, I always say, hey, World Juniors, you know what? Everybody, Canada is usually the one team that doesn't have their best available because their best available in the NHL. Czechia doesn't have an 18-year-old in the NHL. They don't have a 19-year-old in the NHL. So that changes it. It just does. Yeah. Right? Like, it was like last year when they didn't have Bedard on the team or Celebrini. Like, that's a big difference. It just is going to be. And that's not a knock. It shows you that, hey, the elite of the elite at each age level, there's still a fair amount of Canadians in there. So that doesn't mean that you don't always look to improve, but I think it's disingenuous. And you don't need to spread false information to claim, oh, Canada's falling behind. No, we're not. Other teams are catching up. Yes. You can't stop it, but you can say, okay, what do we do to keep it going? And we get a lot of texts already, 833-401-1440 cost. Everyone says cost. Yeah. But cost is expensive to everything now. Groceries, way more expensive than they have been ever before. And so the truth of the matter is, in hockey, to service a hockey arena where the game is played is infinitely more expensive than it is to service a football field or a baseball diamond or basketball court. Because you can play on the outdoor basketball court all summer. Now, you can't play much in the winter, but even in the gym, once the gym's made, there's not like, I don't got to have a Zamboni coming out there. I got someone who sweeps the floor once in a while, right? Like it's not the same, right? Like the plant, everything, it's costlier. It just is, right? There's more equipment for hockey, right? Like, hey, do I think it's a joke the cost of sticks are? Yes. But I think it's a joke what the cost of food is now. So how do you change it?
Yeah.
Right. That's a question. But the reality is I don't know if the sport, you might lose some good athletes because they can't afford it, but you could say that about every sport, because some of it might be, well, you know what? This area of the city or this small town doesn't have a basketball team. Well, Johnny grew up there and Johnny never got to play basketball, but God, he would have been really good if he could have. You never know if he could have or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cost is, just because, the cost of sticks, as you said, is amazing. But there are options that are out there. It's not, who hasn't had that argument with their son about sticks, and, it's not necessarily the stick, it's the player with the stick. I grew up with not the best equipment, not the best stick, and
yeah, well, the stick doesn't make a player.
It doesn't, you know what I mean? So, there's ways, especially in Alberta with the outdoor ice and, the facilities that we have and the leisure ice and what we have available, there's still opportunity. Sports in general is just kind of expensive. I don't, you kind of miss the days of kind of getting together with your buddies and knocking on the door and just finding kind of a pickup game. And, today's world, it's almost nothing's really organized unless it's paid for and planned by someone, but that's just kind of where we're at.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Hey, guys, to me, the reason that we are not constantly winning is simple. The European teams play the game that separated us from others. Now, Canada and the U.S. play the finesse game, and winning puck battles isn't our forte any longer. Interesting point from Hacksaw. I watched the game last night, and it's just a close game, right? Like, Czechia came into the tournament as a team that lots of people had picked to win the tournament, right? Yeah. They're a good team. And in a one game, it's rare for one guy to get two.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I've never seen a redo in a penalty shot before. But when you look at it, it's one errant pass, right? McKenzie played really well, just made an errant pass in the neutral zone. Boom, turns it over. You go the other way, right? Yeah. Like you can be a better team and you can make some worse decisions, but I don't think that's development or training. It's just sometimes you make a bad decision in the heat of the moment.
And I think too, when you look back at Canada, and especially when I grew up, the biggest thing, the difference was the physicality, right? I think, the size of our players and the willingness to really, bully teams and beat teams up. The game has changed now. It's, a lot of those hits, that we, that happened, years ago, those are actually penalties now. So that physical part of the game now is less. And now it's kind of the way it's coached the way it's reffed. A lot of it is very, the skating, the skill and the playmaking and the coaching plays a big part in that. So I think the game has kind of evolved and changed, and as far as the physicality and, there's the stigma, I think, of European players not being tough too. Like there was part of that time where it's like,
sure.
Hey, you know what, we're going to bully them, Canadian hockey player, right? There's tough European players that, maybe fighting wise aren't quite the same, but willingness to battle and compete and take hits and gives hits. And they got some tough guys there too that can actually that can handle themselves as well. So the leveling of the field, as I said earlier, isn't the worst thing. I think that, when you tune in now, you know that, everybody's got to be on top of their game and anyone can win the game. And I think from a fan's point of view, it's nice. It's nice tuning in and watching a game like that where you don't necessarily know the outcome.
833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, Canada lost. That's okay. What about the Oilers? What changes could we make there? That's where we need an in-depth analysis. Well, that's fair. And because that's an ongoing one. It's not just a one game off. The Edmonton Oilers, through 42 games, are 29th in goals against. There's only 3 teams worse, and they're all in the Pacific Division. I like to call it the Turtle Division right now because it is slow going. The Oilers haven't played well, and they're still tied atop the division with Vegas. And they got a very favorable month of January. Now, it's up to them to take advantage of that, and we'll see if they do. They're not off to a good start because Saturday afternoon's loss to Philly was just a bad performance, start to finish, by the Edmonton Oilers. They will have Kasperi Kapanen play his first game since October tomorrow. Look for Quinn Hudson to go down and join Bakersfield in Abbotsford. Jake Wallman, you can expect him next week. Probably the second half of the back-to-back. They play in Chicago Monday, and then they're in Nashville on Tuesday. I think that's probably when you'll see Jake Wallman make his return to the lineup, recovering from a broken bone after blocking a shot in Tampa Bay. You have Roslovic playing with Henrique on the third line in Howard today. Kapanen was playing with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. McDavid's line stayed the same. Frederic and Mangiapane, based on today's skate and the fact that they were out late, looks like they're probably going to be the healthy scratches. So we'll see. Hey, guys, what do you make about Canada's goaltending development? Well, Kevin Woodley's talked about that at length, and he thinks it is a problem. And just some of the things and the strategies that they have here in Canada. Like, I remember interviewing Sean Burke many years ago, and he said one of the biggest mistakes is having kids at a young age commit to playing goalie full-time. They don't understand. They don't know, as a goalie, where's the defenseman supposed to be? Because a big part of it is you're supposed to read the play. And you'll know if I'm coming here, and if my defenseman's in the right position, which obviously the young age isn't going to be there as much, but he's a big believer that you should have more kids play goal up until at least U13.
I don't know, you're in St. Albert, but in Strathcona here, we rotate the goalies through, right? The our philosophy.
But at U9, you mean?
Yeah. Right. We're trying to get as many goalies as we can.
And they do. Some organizations do it. Others, they're like, this goalie, he only wants to play goal. I'm like, okay, well, just because it's like kids, forwards, I only play forward. No, you don't. You can play defense. You can learn how to play defense.
Yeah.
It can help you. Kids who can play all different positions, it's important. Right?
It's amazing to me how many people get caught up in, I agree with you, to play multiple positions at a young age and being adaptable and being able to adjust and understand that, if you want to play at a high level, the more you offer, the better opportunity you have of furthering your career. So the more positions and the better team player, and on and on and on. The reasons, the positive reasons for doing it are a good thing. But yeah, you know what, for as far as goaltending, I mean, it's, in our association, we, at certain years, at certain times, you have a ton of goalies, and then you don't have too many goalies. And it's always a little bit of a struggle, trying to find that rotation, because there is a kid usually that likes to, gravitate more to goaltending. And
that's fine if you want to have them play more, but just not all.
Especially at the beginning, right? It kind of usually sorts itself out halfway through the season. Kids have tried it, don't necessarily want to try it again, and everyone kind of finds their spot. But I think especially early, the more exposure and opportunity that kids get at all the different positions, they eventually find their own way.
Yeah, well, eventually. But I think you can learn what you like and what you don't like at different positions, and it makes a big difference. It was a great game yesterday. Canada just lost. Brady says, hey, guys, hockey's not the only sport that's expensive. $600 kids softball bat. He even sent in a picture, price tag. Yeah, hey, you know what? Lots of things are expensive now. Like, it is, we can have a whole conversation about that. Like, at some point, there's got to be a tipping point here. Like, you just, you want your kids to have the opportunity just to play sports. Like, not to be a professional. Like, I really hope you don't put your kids in sports so they can become a professional athlete. You put them in sports so they can enjoy it and learn about themselves and how to compete and how to be a teammate and how to show up and lots of different things, right? And if they end up if they get a scholarship out of it, my goodness, you're doing cartwheels. Awesome. But more so, it's like, hey, do they have fun? Keeps them out of trouble, maybe a little bit, hopefully, not always. But I think that, sports is, a lot of cases, expensive. Like, hey, we got a lot of texts coming in from, hey, guys, my son was in hockey. I got remarried, and my stepdaughter was in dance. I had no idea how expensive dance is. Honestly, and I'm a dance dad now, but I can tell you it's just as expensive, if not more, than hockey. And trust me, I know. I talked to my brother. He had 2 boys and then a girl in dance. He was just like, oh my goodness, like dance, all the outfits. So there's different costs in different sports if their kids like. Can hockey be expensive? Yes. But it does seem to be Canada's struggling because hockey's expensive, right? Lots of things or activities now, sadly, are really expensive.
Yeah. It's just, it kind of comes with it, unfortunately, especially if you want to get to the elite levels. But I do think, there are other options out there as far as, less of a commitment financially, less of a commitment, time-wise as well too, right? So, so I guess I had a question for you. I was curious where you think Kapanen should come into the lineup. I mean, he's missed a lot of hockey. Does he come in, do you put him on the second line? Is that a fair, realistic
well, that's where
expectation,
they're
or-
going to start with him. And
Really?
he was skating with Draisaitl and Podkolzin again. Now, we all know lines can change in 15 minutes. So I think Kapanen long-term is probably a third liner. But I've always said, like, his skill has top 6 potential. No doubt in my mind. Now, can he do it consistently? And I think if he ever does that consistently, like, I'm not surprised he's playing with Draisaitl because look who he played with in the playoffs and was very good.
Yeah.
So
would you start him on the third line though, and then let him work his way up, get his timing, get a feel for his game? As a coach, kind of lay out what you need to see in his game, and then when you see that in his game, then you reward him.
I could see him playing a game or two in the top 6 because he's going to run on adrenaline for the first 2, and then you move him down.
Really?
Yeah, I
think I would do it the other way.
Him and Roslovic are going to split. I think him and Roslovic are going to be moving between the second and third line.
Depending on how they're playing.
And it might happen, right away. Like, who knows? I think they have Roslovic there, just a little speed. Although Kapanen's pretty damn fast too. But I think they get Scott Roslovic. Henrik needs speed on his wings to be successful. He just does. So, that's kind of what I see. But I'm not locked into. I watch Knobloch long enough to know I don't get too hung up on who's on which line because it isn't going to last very long, especially when the team's playing like junk. Guess what? When the team started playing well, the lines didn't change. The lines started changing when all of a sudden now they're leaking goal because they didn't change it for a while. And then guess what? Even with the consistent lines, they started to fall apart defensively again.
Yeah. I just look at it, Gregor, though, like if, those top 2 lines are the lines that are expected to generate and do the most. And when you work your way up to those lines, you're obviously doing something very well, right? I would look at it, be like, hey, you've missed a lot of hockey. We need your skill set. We need your size. We need your physicality, right? Here you are. Play this style, play this way, play on the third line. Let's see it. And as we see it, then I think you start to get rewarded. I think if you go the other way, right? I think psychologically, maybe even as a player, right? You're kind of like, oh, you know what? You're on the second line. What did I do? I'm on the third line. Now maybe you start to get in your head a little bit. I'd rather, for myself, look at it the other way.
Okay. Quick break. We'll return. And hey, some things seem like they appear year after year. Is this year going to be different for one NHL team? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New Year's resolutions. We all make them. We all say we're going to start eating healthier or going to the gym or starting that new hobby. But at GS Construction, we actually follow through on our New Year's resolution because it's the same every year. We promise to set the groundwork, literally, for another year of progress and growth. And we've stuck by that resolution since 1974. So start that all-you-can-eat diet. GS Construction is going to start planning right now for the year ahead. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your Game Sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhauk beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhauk beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
A Saskatchewan boy who grew up loving and playing sports. At least we think he grew up. Listen to Kevin Carius weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the Power Play 24/7 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also, variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at sherbrooke.liquor.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I know a lot of parents who've interacted with them. I'm friends with two people who
fucking people hated me and I played games.
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Monday. The Oilers are off at a practice today, and they will take on the Nashville Predators as the Oilers look for their first win in 2026. As we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Do you like things extra cheesy? Well, the new double cheesy melt has arrived. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. Only available, limited time at McDonald's. And for a team, like if we probably had to list like most competitive or consistent franchises in the NHL for the last 7 or 8 years, they'd be right at the top of the list. Obviously, unfortunately, they haven't been able to get the Stanley Cup that they want, but they've been very consistent in the regular season. Kind of going through their first funk. They did get a win yesterday against the New Jersey Devils, but prior to that, they'd allowed 32 goals in 7 games. Man, if I went back through every 7-game stretch, that might be the only stretch of 7 games they've allowed 32 goals. It was very unlike the Carolina Hurricanes, but that's kind of how the season's been for them. The Canes, you know, they've got some injuries, of course, in goal. Unfortunately, Kochetkov looks like he's done for the year. Jacob Slavin was hurt. Then he came back, played 3 games. Now he's out again. What does it all mean? How big of a swing are they going to try to make at the trade deadline? Corey Lavalette, longtime beat reporter for the Hurricanes, writes at The Athletic, joins us now. And Corey, I guess let's get an update on Slavin, because he was out for a while. Then he came back and played 3 games, and he's out again.
Yeah, well, first off, good New Year, Happy New Year. We haven't seen him as the media anyway on the ice yet. From what I understand, he's been out there a bit. So just kind of waiting to see when he gets back out there. Different from what, he battled early in the year, which by all indications was a knee injury. They haven't really been forthright with that information, but he was wearing a knee brace during the off season and looked like he was never really fully up to speed. Obviously didn't play in the preseason before getting hurt early in the year. But then the hit by Greer in the Florida game, I think perhaps it listed as upper body, perhaps a concussion. Again, they're not exactly spilling the beans on what's going on, but I think he's pretty close. I think once he gets back on the, in practice, he'll be able to turn it around pretty quickly, and that'll be obviously a huge addition for them because they're playing two rookies right now on defense. One who they expected to play and one they didn't expect to play. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. With that, he's obviously probably their most important player. So the fact they've been able to stay afloat without him and even stay atop the division is pretty impressive.
When you look at their goaltending situation, so Kochetkov sounds like he's done for the year. And, Freddie Anderson has always had some concerns about, how healthy he can be. The waiver wire pickup, Brandon Bussi, started out unreal and, has maybe come down to earth here a little bit as of late. What do you envision in the goaltending department? Because when Freddie Anderson has played this year, Corey, he has not looked good at all. At least his numbers haven't. I don't know, maybe his environment's been that bad, but it seems odd considering the other Carolina goalies go. So what do you think they're going to do in net? Are they looking for a goalie here?
I don't think so. I think they're really impressed with Brandon Bussi. Obviously, now that we're past January 1st, I think we're probably going to see a contract extension come at some point. I know the teams have had talks with each other. They're really impressed with him. And last night was important for him. I mean, he had a tough outing against Montreal. It was really the first time he's kind of shown any kind of chink in the armor, I guess. And, last night he was very good. He didn't have to be spectacular, but he was very good and kind of looked like he had before then. Now, no goalie is going to win, 95% of their games when they start or 90% of their games when they start. So, you have to measure the expectations a little about what he's done and what he will be, but they're really impressed with him. And obviously he's got the size and, he's just a really calm kid. As for Anderson, it's been a bit of a weird one. I don't, we went through this a couple years ago with Antti Ranta here where the bottom just kind of fell out on his career, and that was kind of the end of it. And it was a little shocking that he, just kind of seemed to lose it. And that isn't the same feel I have here on Anderson. I think, the numbers are bad. He hasn't been great, but I don't think he's been terrible in the way that, Ranta really, really struggled at the end there. So they obviously have to get him, kind of going. He's got 9 games in a row without a win. That's not good, especially for a team that's, at the top of the conference. The one good thing is they came into the season with, kind of addressing the depth of the goalie situation by claiming Caden Primo, or not claiming, by trading for Caden Primo, lost him on waivers, ended up claiming Bussi as a backup in case that happened. That worked out fabulously, and now they have Caden Primo again. So they do have another option. But, I think they still believe that Anderson can fill in and be that kind of that 1B type of goalie. They don't really want to run one guy into the ground. So, I think that's the hope. We'll see what happens. Obviously, losing Kochetkov hurts because he was playing pretty well, but he's been battling something all year.
You guys picked up on waivers Noah Phelps, former Edmonton Oiler. How's he doing since being acquired?
Yeah, he played his first game last night. He looked pretty good. Nothing spectacular or anything, nothing stand out about his first performance, but they desperately needed a right-handed center who can win some draws, and he did that last night, helped out on the penalty kill a bit. Another big body. He's not all that dissimilar, I would say, from Mark Jankowski, who they picked up last year at the trade deadline. So it gives you a little bit different look on that fourth line with a right-handed guy that they really, really wanted. Obviously, Jesperi Kotkaniemi's situation is still kind of in flux, and he was a scratch last night in favor of those two guys. So there's still something to be figured out there, whether there's another home for him somewhere that somebody might take a chance on him. But Noah Philp looked he looked all right. We'll see how it goes, and I know they were grateful to have a guy with some size, and like I said, right-handed center was a big thing for them.
Yeah, and so he'll play. I looked; he played like 10 minutes. I think he was like the 5th or 6th forward on the penalty kill. They actually had a lot of penalty kill minutes last night in that game. And so he is. Do you see him having a long-term opportunity there, or is it going? Obviously, it's going to matter how he plays. Is it basically going to be him battling Jankowski for the 4th line center spot?
I think that's probably where this is headed because obviously they're on top of missing Slavin, they're missing Seth Jarvis, so they're missing another body up front, and Jarvis is back skating with the team, in a no contact jersey, but still inching closer to getting back. And I think that once he comes back, now things get a little more crowded back there. So it will probably be between those two guys, like you mentioned, to have a chance to make an impression. Jankowski came in last year and was lights out. I mean, he couldn't miss. I think he scored on his first 4 shots as a Hurricane or something like that, and ended up scoring a bunch of goals. And it was, the small sample size thing that everybody gets crazy about. And this year he hasn't really produced it all offensively. And, for his size, he's not particularly physical. So I think they like a little more jam back there. So I think he's got a shot to take that job away. At the same time, that's the kind of situation where I could see them looking elsewhere to kind of upgrade the forward group and maybe, push somebody down and those guys could both be, out of the mix.
What did you make of the decision? I saw a lot of Canes fans very upset that Nikishin got sat out for a night. Young rookie defenseman's played quite well, but hey, I've seen a lot of young guys, need a reset. What did you make of that, Corey?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, the fans have been kind of frothing at the mouth for him for 3 years, pretty much. So he's finally here, and the eye test on him is dazzling. He's big, he's strong, he's physical, he's got a hard shot, all of those things. He just needs to learn the finer points of, and the thing Rod Brindamore brings up the most is just you can't take a moment at the NHL level. You can't, the term he always uses, you can't exhale. And, it's not a matter of work ethic. I think it's just more a matter of understanding the level that, he's at now. And the KHL is a really good league. At the same time, if you look at the guys who lead the league in scoring in the KHL, it's often guys who couldn't get on the ice in the NHL. So I think, it's a big step up in competition, and, the language barrier has been a thing that they're trying to work through and just get him to, learn all the systems and understand everything. There was a play in the 2 games ago where clearly he made a mistake on the penalty kill when they blew the lead to Colorado. And you could see Tim Gleason, who runs the defense, he wasn't pleased with what happened there. And Brindamore mentioned it after the game that, the defense, we got some young guys who are kind of learning on the fly. And so right now they don't really have the luxury of sitting him out, I would say, with what they've been dealing with. He's played really well. He's one of the top rookies in the league, in my opinion, but they're working with him. They're trying to get him to the right place. The team has a good track record with young guys, I would say, under Brindamore, guys like Jarvis, guys like Blake. They've done a really good job with that. This is a little different. It's a young defenseman who, he's been one of the best players in his league for a few years now. And there's probably a little bit of, hey, we know you're good, but let's make sure you're NHL good.
They went out and got Rantanen last year. I think everybody in Carolina knows that they would like, a big game shooter, and they went out and got Rantanen. It didn't work. Do you see them being the same aggressive leading up to the deadline this year? Is there any names you think they're targeting?
I think they're going to surprise us again. That's my best guess. It seems like that's kind of what they do. That's how Eric Tulsky operates a little bit, is trying to really, surprise the league a bit. The Rantanen thing came out of nowhere last year. that was kind of a shock. And I think, you have to find the right piece. You don't just, fans want the guys who have scored 40 goals in the past and don't do it anymore, or, guys with big, albatross contracts that they think, oh, well, if we had him, we're good. But, they're very, very smart with their salary cap. It's what has made, given them the flexibility to, do these moves they've done, whether it's been, having the cap space to do it, or, more importantly, being really smart with their assets and being willing to give up. There's a lot of Hurricanes prospects around the league that got traded away because they used them as assets to get, the Jake Gensels of the world, the Mikko Rantanens of the world, things like that. So, I think they're always in on everything. A day doesn't go by that when, a big name comes up, you hear, well, the Hurricanes were around it, because they're in on everything.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they've decided, hey, we got to be big swingers, and why not? They've got a lot of pieces in place, so use it. Corey, really appreciate this, man. Have a great day. Talk to you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Corey Lavalette joins us from Carolina. So the Canes had a little bit of a dip. They did bounce back with a win yesterday. And Zane Pairings, the Canadian, just set a world junior record for most points by a defenseman in the tournament. Got 2 assists today. That's 13 points for him. Canada leads the Finns 4-2 in this bronze medal game in Minnesota. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best live DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
West Ave and 118th.
Do you sit around at work listening to sports radio all day? That's right, my friend. There's no shame in it. It's the good life. And we're not here to snitch. Say, if your company advertised on Sports 1440, you could be the one listening for your company's ad every day. Now you've got an excuse to listen to Sports 1440 all day. It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Did you know the Brick is proudly Canadian owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Visit thebrick.com and use our store locator to find a Brick store near you. You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vancellia. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvancellia.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get 3 large specialty pizzas for only $54.99. Perfect for game night. Use promo code 3LG at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$347. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Declan Kruger, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. We very much appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday after, you kind of get back into the routine now. You had some time off, or maybe hopefully you had some time off, I should say. And now the kids are back in school today. Most of them rather grumpy after 2 weeks off. Some of them probably love going back, but a few of them, oh man, I don't want to go to school. Well, hey, guess what? Learn early in life some things you don't want to do, but when you're there, do your best and you'll be fine. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Some fantastic deals to start the new year. 25% off coffee tables, 60% off clearance appliances. That's in-store only, and online or in-store. You can save up to $1,900 off sofas and sectionals at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Okay, question number 1. And you guys have actually gone in depth on this pretty well and good. And Jason, you've kind of taken the opposite stance of how I've worded the question, but I'll read it as is. I don't want to use the word fall because I think that's too harsh, but following 3rd straight year, not competing for the gold, 3rd straight year of losing to the Czechs, what do you attribute to, like I said, quote unquote, the fall of Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championship?
Yeah, I like I said earlier, I don't know if it's necessarily a fall. I think, I think Hockey Canada, I think hockey in general has come a long way. The coaching, the skill development, the people that are involved in the game. I think it's a great thing that all these countries are trying to, we're the standard. We're the standard of where everyone wants to be, and everyone's kind of, competitive and taking in as much knowledge, and there's a ton of knowledge being shared. There's a lot of people that are traveling around and sharing their experiences and trying to make, the experience for every country and player and person involved in the game better. So I think this is a great thing. I think it's going to continue. I think if you were to make maybe an adjustment, as we watched Czechia, every time they zoomed into to the goalie, you could see that was a WHL goalie, right? We're bringing players over and developing them, and then we're competing against them in these, these tournaments, and which I think is a good thing, because we want major, junior. If you want it to be the best league in the world, it has to be, an opportunity for the best players all over the world to play in. So I don't look at it as a bad thing, but I think if you wanted to make an adjustment, you'd probably maybe develop less kids from other countries. Maybe, I'm not sure.
I just look at it's one game you lost by a goal. They're beating Finland here in the semifinal, or I guess, sorry, not the final, the bronze medal. You know what? You're scoring a penalty shot. Maybe the game is totally different.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And then of course it's two good teams. They've improved. They got a good group of players this year for them. They haven't won ever. So maybe this is the time that they do it. We'll see.
They actually have won twice. We looked that up on a Low Tide show.
Yeah, well, as the Czech Republic,
Yes,
but that was because now that was when you had Slovakia combined, right? And now Czechoslovakia is no longer. So you would have had kids from both. Now it's Slovakia and Czechia separate.
Who's winning in a series? Not just, one game anybody can win, right?
Yeah.
Who do you
well,
think? I'm
it would be
thinking
I think it'd be a really good series, but yeah, there's probably a little bias here. I'd probably lean towards Canada for sure, but yeah, I think it would be good.
Question number 2. What do you mainly attribute, or what was the biggest factor in the Oilers' past 2 losses, 6-2 and 5-2, both at home, Philly and Boston?
Lack of energy, lack of commitment to defending.
That's what I was going to say. Just the ability to, check, right? To play, your ability to, and enthusiasm to play without the puck. It's fun and it's exciting to play with the puck. Everyone wants, and loves playing offense, but you got to work to get the puck back. You have to be committed to it. You have to stay in the battle. It's hard. But that's just when you watch the good teams that come here, they consistently play that way. They make it hard. They don't make it easy. And that's, obviously the Oilers are going to get that. That, they got the 2 best players. The game plan is to take away time and space and to really check them.
Question number 3. NFL playoffs are here. Which game are you most excited for and why?
Well, I'm just excited for, I like the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, I want to see what, the quarterback can do. It's an exciting time with KC. I think it could possibly be their year. I think Allen's, an easy player, quarterback to root for, just the way he carries himself, obviously his skill set. So I'm going for the Bills.
And if they don't make it without the Chiefs, like no Lamar, no Mahomes this year, like God, if you don't win it this year, I don't know if they'll ever win it if you're the Bills. So we'll see. But that's a good one, the Bills and the Jags. But I'm going to go with that 49ers-Eagles game. And the Eagles have been such a roller coaster of looking where you're like, man, this great team. And then other weeks, you're like, God, did this team even make the playoffs? And obviously they made the playoffs, but they're still the defending champs, man. And you get into the postseason and 49ers have looked really good, but you're going on the road. And that to me is the game to watch. What about you, Deck?
Yeah, I think the game I'm most probably intrigued by, just because of the divisional aspect, is the Packers-Bears. And the Bears, I think they're very good. I think they're a better team than the Packers, but there's still kind of this lingering tendency that at some point they'll bear it up. Now, maybe that's not fair to what Caleb and Ben Johnson have done this year, but seeing what they'll be able to do playing a divisional opponent in Green Bay is what I'm looking at. Question number 4, which vacant NFL coaching job is the most desirable?
I'll just go Vegas based on being Vegas. Vegas is probably with the weather and new building or stadium. I'll go with Vegas.
Ooh, man, that is a good question. Like you're taking over bad teams, right? But like the Giants have some pieces. They actually, hopefully Struddy's not listening, but the Giants have some pieces. Even the Browns, they got another high pick. But yeah, none of them are great.
I'm going quality of life.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. I might like none of them, but I guess if I had to pick one, I would go Giants.
And question number 5. I asked Connor this last week at the tail end of the week. Do you guys have your own worst or coldest sports take you've ever made?
Oh, I'm sure I have lots, but I don't know what would be the coldest take I ever made. I remember when I was really certain Gilbert Brulé was going to be a player. I was like, oh, big fan of him. Brulé's going to be a good player. He was not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's so hard to. I don't want to throw out names. That's not. It's not fair because
I know somebody you were solid about that you thought they were going to be really good. It's not unfair. It's just a reality. They
I
may not
know,
be
but I
that
don't
good.
want to throw out names on the air. But I mean, I've made those mistakes too. Because there's no real, I got friends that are scouting and, they like to think they know, but there's no, you can take all the analytics and numbers and you don't really know, right? You're projecting, the future and there's so much that, can change and that could happen. I guess, maybe one for me might be maybe Griffin Reinhardt. I know that probably is a little bit of a sore spot for some Oiler fans. Had the ability. I was helping out with the Oil Kings when he was there, and I thought big guy. There's a lot of things that natural skill and ability just for whatever reason didn't quite work out. Maybe even Curtis Lazar to a point.
He's had a pretty good career.
He's had a really good career,
Yeah.
and something that he should be proud of. I thought, I never thought he was going to be an overly offensive player in the NHL, but I thought there would have been a little bit more.
Well, I don't think Ottawa really handled him great early on in his career, to be honest. Like, probably my goal to stake this year would be the fact that the Winnipeg Jets are a playoff team. I had the Winnipeg Jets as a playoff team and not even like a hesitation. And they're in last place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one looked pretty foolish for sure.
So I'm not coming down on Curtis Lazar. I think, like you said, I mean, he's playing in the NHL and, he's obviously done well. I just thought with his skill set and the junior player he was at that time, I thought there was going to be just a little bit more, but he's turned out to be a good NHL player.
Oh, sad to say, hey, man, what has he played? 500 games? I think if not more, like that's a solid NHL career. Like he's not a dominant player, but there's very few dominant players. And then, hey, guys, I thought Magnus Paajarvi was going to be an all-star. Was that after the preseason hat trick? Because I remember when he scored his preseason hat trick. Like there'll be a lot of people out there that were like, what about, where's the Jesse Puljujarvi fan club? Right? Because I remember people, oh, Gregor, you're an idiot. He's great. I'm like, what? And hey, I got along with Jesse, but no, his hockey sense was not, he did not think the game at the level to play at the NHL, in my opinion. And he didn't, well, not to mention he was using a stick that was just horrifically way too long and he couldn't handle the puck. It was a fact. Couldn't handle the puck. So
did you ever think Draisaitl was going to be a superstar?
You know what's funny? Like when he came in, he's the third pick. I'm like, okay, good. His first year he had 50 points. And I remember thinking, okay, 50 points. But rarely do I look at guys and think, oh, this guy's going to be like, well, McDavid's maybe the one exception. Where you're like, I think this guy's going to win the scoring title. But did I think Draisaitl in his first year was going to be, a top 3 player in the league? No, I didn't. But I also rarely think that about any player because I try to have a realistic expectation of a player, right? Because you see it all the time. People like to compare them to the best case scenario. And usually that ends up being a disservice to the player because then in your mind, you're like, well, if he doesn't reach that, then he's a bust. And it's like, well, no. You can be a really good player, just not be a dominant player. Like you can't be a Hall of Famer, right? But you could still have a really good career. Like there's lots of guys who have really good careers who aren't Hall of Famers. Doesn't mean they had a bad career. They're just not a Hall of Famer. So. Hey guys, I remember being very mad at Leon Draisaitl's $8.5 million. I thought it was a big overpay. Cool. It's true. I do remember that one. I argued with a lot of people said that's going to be a steal of a contract. So talk about the ones you get right sometimes too. So
yeah,
but yeah, there's been there's lots you're going to be wrong on. If everybody was right on their take, then you either don't have many, or you're super safe.
You're going to be wrong on one.
Oh God, right. Like impossible. But yeah, I thought, man, I really like how Brûlé played, and just unfortunate, never could get there. I liked a lot of elements of his game. I didn't think he'd be a superstar. I just thought he'd be a longer term NHL player than he actually was, and. Too bad. Good guy. Really got along with him, but that was unfortunate for him. Brownie, have a good week. Oilers 3 games before next week. Do they get out of this funk or do they stay in it?
That's a good question. You know what? I'm interested to see how Kapanen comes in. I think that with his size and his skating ability, his physicality, being a veteran, there's a chance that enthusiasm is going to be contagious. Yeah, I'd like to think they're going to get out of it. You know, I think anytime you have the two best players in the world on your team, you're capable of getting out of anything.
Valid. Leon Draisaitl's last 15 games against the Preds, 21 goals, 39 points. 2.6 points per game.
Timing couldn't be better.
Yeah, if he's looking to get out of a little bit of a funk, this could be it for Leon Draisaitl. That is a ridiculous run. Like, that's some people's seasons. A 20-goal season is considered a good year now in the NHL. Yeah, 21 and 15 games against the Preds dating back to 2019-20. So nuts. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Your next dinner is ready at Loca Quality Markets, and they make it even easier now. Go to meals.loca.ca. Select the number of chef-crafted meals you like to eat, and they'll deliver to your door every Sunday. Meals.loca.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
World Junior Hockey Championship bronze medal game. Canada leading Finland 5-3 with about 5 to go in the second period in that one. Gold medal match will go at 6:30 between Sweden and Czechia. The Edmonton Oilers have loaned forward Quinn Hudson to the Bakersfield Condors, and in the NHL tonight, there are 5 games with the action getting going at 5 between the Mammoth and Rangers and the Anaheim Ducks and the Washington Capitals. Late game tonight in the league, we'll see the Minnesota Wild and the Los Angeles Kings. In the NBA, action gets going at 5 with the Knicks and Pistons in Detroit. The Raptors playing host to the Hawks at 5:30. In the late games, we'll see the Golden State Warriors in LA versus the Clippers and the Utah Jazz in Portland versus the Trailblazers. Other news around the sporting world: Jonathan Gannon has been fired by the Cardinals after going 15-36 in 3 seasons. The Raiders have fired head coach Pete Carroll, and the Browns have fired 2-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski. CFL news: Riders defensive lineman Micah Johnson has retired, but will stay with the club as a defensive line coach. And the Edmonton Oil Kings announced today that they have acquired 2007-born forward Aaron Obo-Ofayo and a conditional 2029 third-round prospects draft pick from the Giants in exchange for 2008-born forward Joey Ginla and a conditional 28 third-round pick. Declan Kruger, this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Hockey Super League is proud to launch its 9th season, delivering independent, borderless hockey. This year, over 125 teams will compete across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and for the first time ever, Colorado, USA, with showcase style action, cross-province rivalries, and a strong commitment to player development. The HSL is the premier destination for families seeking balance and athletes chasing the next level. The Hockey Super League. Hockey without limits. For athletes born in 2013 to 2018, visit hockeysuperleague.com to learn more.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
It's the place Honda. It's the place for service too. I love my Honda place.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden. Rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger. We're on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Donovan Paulson, you can say hello to him on our YouTube or Facebook chats. Check it out. I always find it interesting. I know I see a lot of people always want to blame someone. Oh, Canada lost the game, and now we got to blame But if you don't like the minor hockey system, then say it all the time. Don't wait for a loss to think that, now we're going to talk about it. Hey, I know it's expensive, and I think now people have a choice. They can choose to do it. Do I think it's going to help long term? No, I don't. Right? You've had some unreal associations that they get split up, and you got kids traveling here and there. At the end of the day, there's only so many spots, and people can chase it all around they want. I don't harbor any ill will towards it. I'm always kind of curious as to why they think it's going to be better. Because if you only ever want to pay and get to pick who you play with, well, that's just not life. That's not reality. Because that's only going to go so long. Then what happens when all of a sudden they're stuck on a team they don't like? You think you're going to call the coach and be like, well, I don't really like Sammy playing with Peter. Could you play him with Timmy, please? Do you think that's going to work in major junior or pro hockey? It is not. Not at all. So I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But hey, you know what? People get fired up over it. They're passionate about hockey. We want to try to find a solution and blame. You know what? If we didn't have this, if somehow hockey was cheaper, we would have won that game, which I'm not really sure the correlation on that. It's a guess because you're assuming some kids can't play because of it. And, well, there are some kids who can't play, but does that mean those kids are automatically going to be better than the ones who were playing? That, I don't know. So I think the biggest one is the minute your kids at a young age are stressed about sports, that's when the parents have to reevaluate. They're kids. It shouldn't be stressful. I love the fact some associations this year took off the online statistics because kids focus too much on their online stats more than anything else, right? It's not hugely important. You can print them off. You can put it up once every few weeks. No big deal, right? They're always going to find it. That's fine. But I also don't think it was as necessary, especially because sadly, And I'm sure there's somebody in every association. There were parents who would volunteer to work in the penalty box to be the scorekeeper so they could magically, their kid would end up with a few more points. Like, imagine that. What are you doing? What was that benefiting them? Oh, yeah. Little Sally here. She got the assist on that goal. Yeah, for sure. That 14-year-old ref. And then, sure, they do miss some. I get it. They miss points. It's fine. But do you think they didn't miss points when there was no games online? Of course they did. It happens. It wasn't going to change anything. It's not going to suddenly, I ghosted my kids 7 assists. And by the end of the year, means they're going to go up a tier. I'm not really sure. Not really sure that is the case or not. So, Greg, do you think Canada needs a full-time GM for World Junior teams or the Olympics so there'd be no influence or bias? Well, who's paying for it? It's my number one question. If we're talking about cost, now you want to pay someone full-time for what? World Juniors is once a year tournament. The Olympics is once every 4 years. And I know that now you have it basically every 2 because you have the 4 nations or whatever it's going to be called the next time in 2028. But do you need someone just to pick a team? Like I've said, most of us who follow hockey be like, I think we can get the first 12 guys on the men's Canadian team would be pretty much in agreement with. Right? People would have had McDavid. People would have had McDavid. They would have had Crosby. They would have had McCarr. Would have had Sam Reinhart. Celebrini. I don't think it was a very hard pick this year. Going down the list. I think you can get that. Now, the last 5 or 6, that's where the debate and the discussion comes in. And there's never going to be full agreement. It's impossible. So is the job necessary? No. I think in a lot of businesses now, you get too top heavy with, we got to have a meeting so we can have a meeting to have another meeting. What are we meeting about? I'm not really sure. But we got to talk again. Like, we could give you a list of 10 defensemen. You pick out of those 10, somebody, you're going to get the top 6 right. Then 7 through 10, it's going to be debate over who goes and who doesn't. And it might ultimately not really matter. So I personally know. I don't think that they need it. Just me. They have someone, Doug Armstrong's been the guy for a few years, and away you go. So, and Gregor, some would volunteer to be the GM, no pay. You certain about that? Who's they? Have you spoke to them, Stanley? Have they told you, hey, you know what? I will commit all these hours for free, just so I can say I was the GM of the Canadian team. A qualified person really can do that? Why? I don't see the need to do it. Gregor, wouldn't you only pay him $60,000? Yeah. So you think somebody's gonna take the GM job of Canada for $60,000 a year when you get paid more than that to be a GM of a major junior team? I don't think so, man. Don't think so. I don't think it's necessary because the decisions at the end of the day aren't anything that needs a full year-long analysis on. The best guys you're going to pick anyway. Then you come down to the other ones. In a lot of cases, it might be, well, who do we think's playing better right now? So no, me personally, I would not do it. Greg's, when do you think Mangiapane is going to get traded? It's a good question, Steve. Well, I'll say this. The Oilers have to make a significant decision before next Tuesday. Because that's when I think Jake Wallman's coming back. After talking to him today, after listening to Chris Knobloch, Jake Wallman, he's not going to play tomorrow. He's not going to play Thursday in Winnipeg, and he's not going to play Saturday at home against LA. After that, there's a chance it could be as early as a week today when the Oilers are in Chicago. But then they play in Nashville the next night. And usually guys coming off an injury, they're not playing them in the first half of the back-to-back because they don't really want to go back-to-back nights right away. So I would say next Tuesday, really good chance. So by then, because when Wallman comes off LTIR, you got to free up $3.4 million. And the Oilers don't have enough players that I look at realistically and say, okay, you know what? They're going to waive this guy. All right. Like, who are the players, guys who don't need waivers? Okay. They could send Ike Howard down. Sure. Right. They just recalled him. Okay. They could, if they wanted to, send Matt Savoy down, but those two combined are making 1.7. Right? You throw a defenseman down, Riley Stillman, they're 7.7 or $775K. Still not there. So no, I don't see that happening. I think they're gonna have to clear up some money. Mangiapane makes 3.6. Wallman makes 3.4. It's a pretty easy change. And my understanding, there's some teams interested. And Stan Bowman, they know the situation with Jake Wallman. They know this. Now, there could be another injury in between now and then, and that changes things. But that would be my guess. Hey, Gregor, can you waive Trent Frederic? You could. I don't like, there's still, I know that it's easy for people because you're upset and you're mad at the contract. And it's like, boom, I'm going to waive Trent Frederic, and that's going to allow me to feel better about myself because I'm frustrated, and it's going to help the Oilers. And sure, I understand all that. But first of all, you can't waive him because he has a no movement clause for the first 4 years of the deal. So it's not an option. Now, you could waive Mangiapane, but however, when you waive him, you're only freeing up $1.15 million. So that doesn't do much. It doesn't free up enough space to get Jake Wallman on. All it does is free up $1.15 million. So it would help. It would take basically a third of his contract. But Frederic, you can't waive because he has a no movement clause. Mangiapane, you could waive because he has a no trade clause. Difference in a no movement clause is you can't be put on waivers. So Frederic will not be going down. Mangiapane, I don't think they would waive him. They'll look, plus waiving him, as I said, doesn't free up enough space. They'll look to trade him, and I think he's up for it, and he is interested in, I think, finding a position where he can play more. He has this year and then next year on his deal. Andrew Mangiapane is a young player. You're thinking a little bit of career at this point if you're Andrew Mangiapane, to say, man, like, that was the reason Arvidsson asked for a trade. He's like, you know what? It didn't work out here. I don't want to come back to Edmonton and have the same thing happen where I'm not going to play. And sometimes it's just not a fit. And now that happens again. What does my next contract look like? Maybe I'm a league minimum player. And so the players believe in himself. Like, Mangiapane is like, I can score 17 goals. I can score 18 goals. I got to get an opportunity. So it's not working out in Edmonton. And that's why I think he would agree to a trade, almost regardless of which team he's going to at this point, because he's going to want to go to a team where he looks and says, hey, and it's not like Colorado or any of the top teams are going to be trading for him, right? So that's kind of how I view it. Hey, Gregor, could they not retroactive Jari to LTIR? Well, Dean, that's what I think they're going to have to do just to get Kapanen on. Right? Because if you look right now, the Oilers have about $320,000 in cap space. And if you put Lane Hudson down, combined with that, it comes to just around 1.2. Well, Kapanen's a $1.3 million cap hit. So you don't have enough cap space just to do a Hudson down and a Kapanen on. So they could do Jari retroactive, yes. And that would allow them to move Kapanen. And then, in theory, because of Jari's he's at 5.75, that you could have it. So that would extend it past the week. So you're right. It would extend it past the week. But just to get Kapanen on, that won't work. They'll probably have to put Jari on LTIR retroactive to when he was injured. So it doesn't, that's just a paper shuffle for your team. You don't put guys on LTIR right away if you're like, he might be back before the 10 games or 24 days. But now they know that's not going to happen. So you can do it. Hey, Gregor, would Mangiapane be traded for a pick? Well, I don't know, man. You probably got to maybe take something back, or you might just be future considerations. I'm not even sure a team's going to give you up. Like, your team is doing you a favor. You might have to add something. You might have to add a pick to it. Is the problem. Gregor, what's with all the guys getting no movement clauses, no trade clauses. Well, that's what happens when you sign free agents. Right? Guys who've been in the league for that many years, that's part of the negotiation. And so if you feel like, you know what, we believe in the player, then you're not worried about the no trade. Like, look at Andrew Mangiapane. So he has a no trade clause. All that does is give him a little bit of comfort in knowing they can't just trade me without me agreeing to it. That's all. Right? Trent Frederic signs an 8-year deal. You give him a no movement clause for the first 4 years of the deal, because when you're signing him for 8 years, you're not thinking about trading him. Right? Trent Frederic has not worked out for 42 games. It doesn't mean that he can't bounce back next year. And he might not. Right? Maybe he'll be the David Clarkson, although he got hurt. But you know, like I just don't think, like, Frederic right now, I don't think has any confidence. It's painfully obvious. Right? But the Oilers aren't the only team. I'll go through the list during the break, but the Oilers aren't the only team who have guys on no movement clauses here. There's lots of them around the NHL, especially when you sign free agents. That's the part of it. The player's like, yeah, I'll sign there, but I want a little security. Okay. Some of them might even take an extra or less $100K, $200K just to get the no movement clause. It happens. And if Mangiapane gets traded, it reaffirms my belief that all the no movement clause or the no trade clause does is give the player a little bit of say. If you really want to trade a guy, like really want to trade him, it happens. Right? And there's some guys who ask for trades and never get traded too. It works both ways. Like, don't kid yourself. There's been lots of players who have asked for trades, and the team was like, okay, but we're not trading you. And you know what? Then things kind of sorted themselves out. And player lasts another year and a half on the team. It happens both ways. But hey, would I like a rule in place where each team had a limited number of no movement clauses, no trade clauses? Yes. Do I ever think the owners would fight for that in a collective bargaining agreement? Unlikely. Like, this, oh, this is something we like. This is the hill we're going to die on. Because they'll say, no, we just won't hand them out. And then they always do. But I don't think they would ever get to that point where they would want to limit them that much. Quick break. When we come back, Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM will join us. We got Cam Tate, the 2-minute warning and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
For 25. Oh, man, was this a special request by our next guest? I like it. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having an awesome Monday afternoon. Back in the swing of things. Kids just coming home from school, probably like, oh, I'm so tired. I haven't been in school for 2 weeks. It is tough. I remember those days. It's a tough one, right? Maybe they get their favorite dessert tonight. Who knows? Right? Or just say, suck it up, kids. Either way, should be fun. World Juniors, Canada trying to salt this game away in the third period as they lead Finland. Coming up, Sweden versus Czechia for the gold medal. Czechia has not won the gold medal since 2001. They actually won back-to-back in 2000 and 2001. And if Canada holds on, both years that Czechia won, Canada had the bronze. Both years. They beat Russia in 2000, then they beat Finland in 2001. Did Czechia, the Swedes, have not won gold since 2012? Canada also had the bronze medal that year. So somebody, whoever wins, will say, oh, Canada, guess what? That's why we won, because they were third. Czechia's on a little bit of a run here, though. They finished silver medal in 2023, bronze in 24 and 25, and now they're either going to get gold or silver again. So they will be the only country who medals 4 years in a row right now. So a little bit of a run for Czechia. Nice. And for Canada, this they'd like to hold on to it because they did not get medals in each of the last 2 years after prior winning 4 of the previous 6 gold medals. So will Canada be good again next year? Yeah, they will be. And some of you might be watching it live in Edmonton and Red Deer as the games will be here. Now, let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where 53 years in business, they have become the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. 4 divisions and projects, solar, testing, and service. ActionElectrical.net. Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us for the first time in 2026. Davey, how you doing?
Oh, good, Jason. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, there's lots, man. Lots happening. Hey, man, I love sports. So NFL playoffs, I can't wait. You got the World Juniors going on right now. You have the NHL. We're officially into the second half of the season. And if I had to say, okay, Dave, you get one pick as your biggest positive surprise of the first half, and then your biggest negative surprise of the first half.
Does it have to be a team or can it be something?
Both. It can be whichever one.
Yeah, okay. So biggest negative surprise without question is the Winnipeg Jets. I didn't expect them to be the worst team in the league as we enter the second half of the season. That to me is shocking, but I think what it has shown you is that Nikolai Ehlers meant a little bit more to that roster than maybe everybody, including management, thought. Now, Oilers did want to move on, and I think he handled it just about as well as he could have. There's always hurt feelings in situations like that, but what it did was it gave them some depth when it came to offense. It insulated Cole Perfetti a little bit, who has not had a very good year this year. And they've struggled to score really outside of Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde. After that, like, their production just falls off the map. So you take one guy off, it shouldn't crater the team the way it has, but that's obviously a part of it. It's not the only reason, but they have not played well at all, and I'm shocked to see them in that position. Most impressive surprise through the first half, probably the Pittsburgh Penguins, quite honestly. I did not think we'd be entering the second half of the season with the Penguins in a playoff position, let alone the fact that Evgeny Malkin has been out of the lineup for some time here recently. But Sidney Crosby just continues to chug along and is playing at a level where you do wonder if I might have found the guy that can fight off Father Time. Like, he's not better. The guy's game is in such good shape right now. So, yeah, I'm shocked. I really am. I did not see that at all. I thought they'd be at the bottom of the standings. I really did.
Yeah.
But here they are in a playoff position, and they've won 5 in a row now. So if they get through January in good shape, I can tell you what it'll immediately do is put an end to the Sidney Crosby trade deadline conversation. If they are within a stone's throw of playoffs, you're not going anywhere. And so that's a surprise to me. Did not see that coming from Pittsburgh.
Good choices. Yes. The Jets. It's like I had the Jet. We were asked earlier, what's your coldest take? And I'm like, well, recently I would say the Jets making the playoffs because that one's looking like terrible. So the only good news is misery likes company. And there are a lot of people with me who thought the Jets were going to be a playoff team, but they have not only fallen out, they have crashed out this season. You look at, like the Macklin Celebrini, I think would be a great positive surprise. Him hitting third in the NHL scoring race, probably right now because his team is right there for a playoff spot. Should be a candidate for the Hart Trophy based on the wording of the rule. You mentioned the Penguins. What about the Philadelphia Flyers? And they're a bit like they came into Edmonton here and spanked the Oilers on Saturday afternoon. Like, looked way quicker, way more intense. Like, I'll give Rick Tocchet credit, man. Like, that team, they played way better, and they've lowered their goals against significantly from last season.
Yeah. Look, just one last thing on Winnipeg. I got to look this up, but I do wonder if there's ever been a year where a team won the President's Trophy the year before and then finished last the very next year. I got to look into that. It just hit me, but I can't imagine that's happened.
I think it happened in the original 6 day, which obviously is a little bit different, but
we'll go expansion era. I don't know.
Like, I know New Jersey won at the Presidents, and then we've had President's Trophy teams miss the playoffs, but from first to worst, that would be that'll have to be looked up.
Yeah,
the accomplishment.
When it comes to Philadelphia, look, when Rick Tocchet is the coach, you're going to work, whether you like it or not, if you're interested in playing. That is one thing that he will strictly adhere to, is you better be working and you better adhere to the system. I think that's why he was by and large short in terms of his tenure in Vancouver, is because he instituted the system and it didn't seem like there were all too many willing participants on the ice to adhere to it. My understanding was that he had some very tense conversations who he thinks you could and could not win with, and ownership was not all that interested in hearing what he had to say. And then with that being the case, when he had an option, I was not shocked at all that he moved on. So look, he is part of Flyers lore, right, Jason? Like, that also helps. And this is a team as well that is trying to recreate their identity after kind of going into a murky middle in the weeds, nothing particularly of interest about their team type situation over the last 4 or 5 years. They want to reassert themselves as a hardworking group that plays a sound game, and is a group that the fans can respect, whether or not they win games. And that's the thing, right? If you got a group that's young and goes out and works hard and competes and looks like they give a damn, even if they lose a little bit more than they win when you're in the midst of a rebuilding process, fans can respect that. But when you go out and you Pepe Le Pew around the ice and you lose and it doesn't look like you give all that much of a damn, especially in a city like Philadelphia, that's not going to fly. So I look, Exhibit A, if I may enter into evidence, is Trevor Zegras, who in Anaheim kind of played like a Pepe Le Pew player at times, right? We'll try some Michigans. We'll get on the highlight reel. We'll try and dance a guy. And if all that doesn't work out, we'll lose 6-2 and I'll try again the next night. Well, that doesn't work. Trevor Zegras has rounded out his game to the point where he's contributing whether or not he scores. And I think that's really impressive. I think there was a bit of a maturation process on Zegras' part where he understood, now that he's 23, 24, look, I can't just be a driveway player if I want to be in this league a long time. It's not going to work. So I give him a lot of credit for listening. But he has rounded out his game, and I think that is a microcosm of the whole team. They're working hard. They're sound. They're structured. Talent-wise right now, I don't know. Like their lineup really doesn't excite me all that much quite yet, but they work and they make you pay a price. And if they're willing to do that, in an Eastern Conference that's kind of weak, Jason, I think they could hang around a little bit for sure.
Yeah, Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM joins us. Dave, the Colorado Avalanche, unreal start this season, but they had a tough outing in Florida. They lost, but they lost Taves. Landeskog looked like he broke some ribs or something, crashed into the goalpost, did not look good at all. And, it's interesting. A lot of people say about that gets overlooked in Colorado is just how Gabriel Landeskog as a leader has just kind of calmed things down a bit. Like, Nathan McKinnon's just like, he is wired, like he is full throttle all the time. And that's not a knock, but it's just Landeskog has come in and maybe is a good yin to the yang, shall we say, maybe like Patrick Kane was to, Captain Series at the time with Jonathan Taves. And it works. This first 40 by the Avalanche has been remarkable. We'll probably get a little stretch of just how dominant they truly can be now that the injury bug seems to have bit him pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a good thing that they go through a period of adversity. Teams that cruise through the regular season and face no adversity whatever, generally I find are not long for the playoffs, because by the time you do get into the playoffs and you do hit adversity, which you will, really, like, I'm trying to think, maybe outside of the 2012 Los Angeles Kings, I can't think of a team that just cruised their way through to a Stanley Cup. So you will get knocked at some point in the playoffs. And if you have nothing to draw on, then generally before you figure it out, you're packing your bags and you're going home. So it's probably a good thing that they're going through a little bit of adversity. They're going to be fine. They've built up such a lead. Are they as good as the team we saw through the first 41 games where they only lost 3 in regulation? No, that's absurd. Like it's outrageous, the success that they've had in the first half in really a division where Dallas is a good team. Minnesota didn't start out great, but they've got themselves into a really good spot here. Yep. I think that is if you want to use a soccer analogy, the group of death in the NHL right now. That's going to be hard to get to the third round coming out of the Central Division. But I do think it's a good thing, and we'll see. I also think there are some areas within the Avalanche lineup that they could look at improving. Probably not so much in the top 6, but I think they could do with some more effective bottom 6 players, guys with a little bit more experience than some of the youth that they're going with right now on the fourth line. The back end is fairly sound. I think you can always use a depth defenseman, but I'd be interested to see if they could bring in like a a quality, lower middle six, bottom six type winger that is reliable, I think that could help their group a little bit, because I think their fourth line might be a little lean right now in terms of experience. And right now, this is a team that is absolutely a cup contender and is going for it. And so now I would push my chips into the table if I was Avalanche management.
Oh God, yeah. I think you're definitely going to get rather aggressive. Now, you mentioned that the East is kind of weak. My goodness, the West outside of the top three teams is not overly dominant either.
No.
The turtle race of races is in the Pacific Division right now, where Edmonton and Vegas are tied with 46. You got Anaheim right behind them at 45. Suddenly, the Seattle Kraken, who I thought were dead in the water, are 6-1, and they're 2 points behind Anaheim, and the LA Kings and the San Jose Sharks. So there's 6 teams within 3 points. None of them great. Who is the best of an average bunch in your eyes?
In the Pacific Division. Yeah, it's nuts how, quite honestly, poor that division is. Like the Oilers and the Knights are tied at 46 points for the division lead. The Toronto Maple Leafs, who are dead last in the Atlantic Division right now, but also not far from a playoff spot themselves. It's such a weird year. Have 45 points.
Yeah.
Like they'd be one back in the division lead. So it's, I can't think of a year like this where so many teams are still in the mix. And what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, you and I both agreed that the West is kind of sorting itself out, and we're seeing some stuff. Like that's gone away now.
Yeah.
Calgary's right there. They're 3 points out. So you got Calgary, Chicago, Utah, St. Louis, Nashville. Who would have thought Nashville? San Jose within 3 points of a playoff spot. Like Vegas leads the division. They've lost 23 of their 40 games. Now 12 have been in overtime, but they've gone 17 and 23, if you will, through 40. That's not great. Look, Vegas and Edmonton, I still think are locks. Is that too strong a word to use? But I think they'll be there by the time it's all said and done. Beyond that, like Anaheim got off to a really good start. They've kind of gone through some adversity now. They've got so much youth. Now they have brought in veterans in the offseason like Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba that should help protect that youth a little bit and lend some experience to a time now where they're going through a bit of a period of adversity, but they're still so unproven. So I can't really rely on them. I think I would probably say LA, just because they've got a more veteran group. They're going to want to make the play. They're not going to want to let Ozzy Kopitar down in his final season as he approaches retirement that he announced in the off season. They've got a good mix of youth and talent as well. So I think they should be my third team. And my goodness, wouldn't that be interesting? Because if they do finish third, which is not entirely out of the realm of possibility, they're only 2 points back of Anaheim right now. That would, if the playoffs were to start soon, lead to yet another Oilers-Kings matchup in the first round, which I know folks in Edmonton would love. LA, not so much. But yeah, like I think Vegas, Edmonton, LA are my top three. And then we'll see what happens with Anaheim and San Jose and Seattle. I don't think Seattle can score enough. I'm shocked that they've played themselves back into the playoffs, but I just don't see them being able to sustain it. I think Vegas, Edmonton, LA are my top three in the Pacific.
Okay. Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM joins us. Davey, what did you make of the kind of like the sucker punch weekend we saw in the NHL as McCarron pops Tkachuk? And then you had Beecher popping McCarron, and then Stanley popping Tkachuk. Very different situations, in the sense like Beecher, like it looked like it was done. The linesman get in there, and then boom, he pops him. Whereas I thought Logan Stanley was like, you know what, Tkachuk, we're kind of engaged. I think I'm going to throw before he throws to me. Still clearly hit him when he wasn't looking. I get all that, but. What did you make of that, and what do you think comes about it, if anything, in the rematch when these teams meet next?
Oh, I think there will be something in the rematch for sure. Those type of things breed responses, especially when Brady Tkachuk is on the wrong end of it. Look, I I'm never against anything that builds rivalries and builds a little bit of animosity. Like, I love the fact that Florida and Tampa Bay cannot stand each other. So I'm not against that per se, but I also think as the league, you have to make sure you make clear that sucker punching guys is not something that is going to be tolerated. So I do think that's an action that should be suspended, because it's not 1978 anymore, right? Like, you can't just run around sucker punching people. Now, Brady, a guy who yaps all the time and is always in the mix, like, one of these days, that's the risk you run, right? Where, you're just going to keep yapping and someone is going to have enough of you and then you're going to eat one, right? Like, it's not a surprise that it happened to him. Is it? Like, you remember back in the day when Ty Domi suckered Ulf Samuelsson?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not a surprise that it was Ulf Samuelsson, right? Connor Bedard's probably not getting suckered. McDavid's probably not. It's guys who yap, don't shut up. And at some point, if in a workplace, if people could, they probably would. But, you go around the office and there's one guy who doesn't shut up all the time. And who hasn't had that thought go through their head that, oh my God, if I could. So, it's that guy that doesn't shut up is probably going to get it. And so I think he won't forget that the next time Ottawa faces the Winnipeg Jets. But I don't think the league should be mistaken to condone anything like that, because look, square up with a guy, tap him on the shoulder, do the little hand wave, let's go, draw and let's go. Coming in from behind is just it's a tough look.
Davey, always good to catch up with you. What did you make of the World Juniors?
Not good, man, not good. Too much individualism, and like a level of immaturity that I get. They're 17, 18, 19 years old, but I don't remember it being as pronounced 20 years ago. And maybe that's where we are at as a society. But man, if you're a top prospect and a top pick, you should be able to control your emotions maybe a little bit better. I didn't like the way Canada handled it all throughout the tournament. And I just saw too much resorting to individualism when the game came to a head, so to speak. So, I think Canada's got to take a long, hard look at how are we coaching, how are we managing, how are we developing players? Is there enough focus on working together as a group toward team success at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15 years old? Or has everything devolved so much into individualism, skills coach, my points, my next step? Because the hell with my team, you can watch my tape and see I'm a good player. And then you put all that together, and it hasn't been working at the junior level for some time now. So I think they have to take a long, hard look about the way guys are being developed prior to the junior age at the 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age level, because I think there's some failings in that area.
Davey, always good to catch up with you, buddy. Have yourself an awesome week. We'll talk to you on the brunch on Sunday and here on Tuesday on the Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Thanks, buddy. See you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Canada leading now with about 9 minutes to go in the third period. It is 5-3 for the red and white over Finland in the bronze medal game. Canada trying to end a brief 2 years without a medal, looking to get back in the medal category today. Coming up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll also hear from Chris Knobloch and Darnell Nurse.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
And here comes Action Electrical service team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit, no credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League sports season is now underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities for players in the 14U, 15U, 17U, and 18U divisions. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups across Western Canada. Players work with experienced coaches, trainers, and elite hockey personnel. Learn more about Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
I'm tired of waking up tired. Waking up tired. Yeah, waking up tired.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Come visit our sleep experts at the Brick Mattress Store. Get Canada's guaranteed lowest prices on all things sleep. Plus, try your new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress guaranteed. Only at the Brick Mattress Store.
Ron McLean here. In hockey, we say every shift's a gift. Cam Tate never got one. Cerebral palsy meant a unique path. Husband, dad, grandpa, and for half a century, one of hockey's finest chroniclers. Cam was a spectator in his own radiant life, and he can unlock such a life in you too. CamTateSpeaking.eait, speaking.com. Be ready, really ready, for your next shift.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. Made in Canada, made for Canada. Where extreme isn't theoretical, find your solution at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.452, welcome back, Gregor. Declan Kruger here, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can always get involved. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. The Gregor Show always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where the daily grand, $50 million. Tomorrow in Lotto Max, you also can get 2 Max Millions. And while you're there, check out the Gregor Show odds boost, some specials for you every day. Stay within your limits. PlayAlberta.ca. The orders, we'll hear from Chris Knobloch. Going to be some a new addition to the lineup tomorrow. Kasperi Kapanen looks like he is ready to go, as has practiced hard, being on the second line. Last few days of practice for the Edmonton Oilers. And we'll start the game with Drysdale and Podkolzin, and it looks like Roslovic with Henrique and Isaac Howard. McDavid's line stays the same. And then you had Frederic and Mangiapane as the extras. Janmark was skating on a line with Curtis Lazar on the fourth line for the Edmonton Oilers. So Frederic and Mangiapane look like they could be getting the night off. Tomorrow, coach didn't want to 100% confirm that, but both of them also stayed out late after practice, which usually, not always, but usually is a decent indicator of who's going to be playing and who isn't going to be playing. So, and Matt Savoy was the other guy on the fourth line for a game anyway for Edmonton. So, kind of see where it goes. There's lots of guys who, hey, up and down this lineup, everybody's got to play better defensively for the most part. Right? Ty Emerson, I think, has been pretty good. Vasily Podkolzin being pretty solid. After that, there's lots of guys whose goals against much higher this year than where they were last year. And so they will need to improve there for sure. Let's get to a 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Charges. Furnace conks out late at night or on the weekend, call Legacy. No OT. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca.
Folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you read about your local high school team or minor hockey team or lacrosse team or ski team in the paper, television, or most significantly around these parts, radio? Can't remember? You're not alone. Here's the thing, and listen to this because it matters. When local sports coverage dies, the community dies with it. The Poynter Institute for Media Studies is a nonprofit journalism school and research organization in St. Petersburg, Florida, just dropped some numbers that are, well, you decide. 59% of people who follow local news, they feel connected to their community. Connected. You know how many feel that way when there's no local coverage? 27%. 27. And here's the kicker. Half of folks in towns without local news say they feel powerless, like they got no voice. But flip it around, cover those Friday night lights, where they're hanging from wires in hockey arenas, gymnasiums tell those hometown stories, and 65% suddenly feel like they can make a difference. This isn't just about box scores, folks. This is about the fabric of our communities. Local sports, it's the glue. Always has been. Over the next few days, we're diving deep into minor sports coverage, and we mean deep. We're talking full investigative mode, research, data, the whole 9 yards. And here's where it gets interesting. By Friday, we reveal why we're doing this, why now, why it matters. And trust us, you're going to want to hear this. But here's the thing. You're not just listening. You're part of this. Our 2-minute warning Twitter poll, it's blowing up. Today's question was dead simple. How important is it for traditional media to cover minor sports? The results? Brutal. 31.9% said important, but a crushing 68.9% said not important. Ouch. We're leaving the poll open overnight. The numbers could shift. They could get worse. Want to weigh in? Hit us up. cam@sports1440.ca. That's cam@sports1440.ca. Tomorrow, we debate. Things are going to get spicy. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Kruger, careful now, don't push that button. And me, Tater, Sports1440. Let's go.
Look forward to that with Cam Tate. It is an interesting topic. Many of you, like, you still have some local papers that cover the sports teams for sure. And I do, I remember reading up a lot and knowing more about what was going on and, playing at, U of A. But, you go to Sherwood Park or St. Albert and they have a local newspaper and it covers lots of the different teams. So that part is good. I do think there's definitely a connection there, whether in Beaumont and Leduc, you'll see some stories there about local athletes, which is, I think, personally, always more important for sure. Hey, Gregor, what do you think the Oilers see in Regula? He doesn't have the boots to play in the NHL, from Nathan. Well, Nate, it's an interesting comment because last year, lots of people said virtually the same thing about Ty Emerson. The NHL is hard. And when you try to enter the NHL on a team with high expectations, I think it stands out more. Regula is a big guy. He's never going to look super fast because he takes longer strides, right? That's what's kind of unique about Nurse. Nurse is a big man, but he's such a great skater that no one ever thinks Nurse is slow, right? But there's other, like some people are like, oh, Draisaitl can't skate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Draisaitl's actually a pretty good skater. But you're right. Regula, I think he was out of hockey for a year, right? Now it's kind of his first year in the NHL. It's a tough learning curve. It's a big learning curve. And he might never be more than a third pair defenseman. And there's nothing wrong with being a third pair defenseman, man. You carve out a career, 600 plus games, you're a third pair defenseman. It's unreal. It's truly unreal. So it's too early for me to say, like, Regula, I think has better puck moving skills than we've seen. I do know that, the scouting report, he's big, but he's not physical. So anybody who looks at size thinking, hey, this guy's going to add some juice, not really his game. Now, could it become his game? Should it become his game? Totally different conversation. I would probably agree it should. But I think they see potential in Regula. Like a lot of young players, they see potential. In a perfect world, they would have been able to send him to the minors this year and get some significant playing time. But they didn't want to expose him to waivers because he would have got claimed. Let's get to Declan Kruger with a Sports 1440 update now, brought to you by Northgate, GM Buick, and GMC. And Mike and the gang just want to thank all of you for very productive 2025. They fed over 500 families. Their help. They look to do it again in 2026. NorthgateGM.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And it is all over. Canada has won the bronze at the World Junior Hockey Championships, defeating Finland by a final score of 6-3. The gold medal match between Czechia and Sweden will go at 6:30 tonight. NHL action getting going in just a couple minutes here, as we will see the Mammoth and the Rangers, as well as the Ducks and the Capitals, both with the 5 p.m. puck drop. The late game tonight in the NHL seeing the Wild and the Los Angeles Kings at 8:30. In the NBA, action set to tip off in just a moment here as well with the Knicks and Pistons. The Toronto Raptors, they're playing host to the Hawks at 5:30 in the late games in the league. See the Golden State Warriors and the LA Clippers and the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers. AJ action tonight sees Devin in Olds with a 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. And news around the sporting world sees 3 NFL coaches fired today. Jonathan Gannon by the Cardinals, Pete Carroll by the Las Vegas Raiders, and Kevin Stefanski by the Cleveland Browns. CFL news, Riders defensive lineman Micah Johnson has retired. He will stay with the club as a defensive line coach. And the Edmonton Oilers Kings announced today they have acquired 2007-born forward Aaron Oboafayo and a conditional 2029 third-round WHL prospects draft pick from the Vancouver Giants in exchange for 2008-born forward Joe Aginla and a conditional 2028 third-round pick. Declan Kruger up next is Hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, where we'll be joined by Mark Spector and hear from Darnell Nurse and Chris Knobloch. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical Team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Your fantasy football league sucks. Why? Oh, we've got 7 painfully accurate reasons. And don't worry, we've got fixes too. Visit fantasytoilet.com for all the tools and hilarious awards to make your fantasy league suck less.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park to Go, your first-class parking experience. Book self-serve and valet parking and save up to 30%. Book now with promo code RADIO. That's RADIO.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal, and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
Portion of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more breaking down the green and gold. The most in-depth Double E football coverage online at elksnation.ca.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, welcome back, Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you on a Monday afternoon. You make your drive home. A little slick in certain areas, so take a little bit of time. Actually saw 2 accidents on the way into work today. One was actually on the way to Oilers practice, running the Yellowhead. And man, I'm just like, it's the worst. You know, knock on wood's been many years since being in an accident, but never anything super serious, but just it's the whole hassle with it. And sometimes there's a lot of damage. And obviously when it's colder, things break more and it's just brutal. So hopefully you get home safe and no fender bender or no accident for you. Gregor Show always brought to you by playalberta.ca, your one-stop shop. Instance, lottery, live dealer, casino, and of course, sports, NFL, NBA, NHL, you name it, they got it. playalberta.ca. As they get set to hand out the trophies. Canada wins the bronze medal today over Finland. That's a tough game for any teams that's been in the bronze. And the Finns usually they come up pretty strong in the bronze medal game. But Canada played a really solid effort and big win today, 6-3. And they come home with the medal. It's obviously not the one they wanted, but still better than fourth, right? Better than fourth. So. They'll regroup, and hey, Canada will be coming to, along with all the other countries, to Edmonton and Red Deer next year for the 2026. Well, I guess it's technically the 2027 World Juniors. So there you go. And then it's in Finland, and then in Quebec City and Trois-Rivières in 2021. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction. And Edmonton and the surrounding areas. Communities are always growing. New houses, roads built every day. But before our overpasses go up and roads can be built, first step is relocating all the underground utilities to make way for the infrastructure. That's what they do at GS Construction. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I had an eye on that Canada-Finland game. Canadians were pretty much in control the whole way.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's a tough game to play, man. It's a day. It's less than 24 hours after. You're very disappointed in the outcome. And you know what? You got to show up, and it's not always easy. And, but they did it. So congratulations to them. And obviously I know it's not the medal they wanted, but it was a good bounce back effort today. And now we'll see where they go from here. It'll be interesting to see how some of the guys that were loaned from NHL teams, they're coming back. They're going to go right to junior. If it was me, I'd be sending them to junior, let them play a ton. Still better than just not playing at all up here. So that's what I'd be doing. The Oilers obviously had a few players from other countries on the team. But what do you think about that Czechia-Sweden game tonight?
Well, I loved the Czechs game last night. That's for sure. The Czechs caught my eye early in the tournament. I watched them play in a game. I forget who they were playing, but I thought they were big and fast. And watching them play last night, they were better than Canada last night. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they're a better team. They were better that night in that game. There's no question in anybody's mind. They were certainly, they led all night. They sure look like there's going to be a little flood of Czech guys coming in the NHL pretty soon, because they had a whole bunch of good players on that team that are likely to get their shot over here in the National Hockey League, don't you think?
Yeah, and you know what? They're the only nation that's going to medal 4 years in a row. And, that's good because they had a long drought where they were doing a whole lot of nothing, realistically. Like they had 1/4, maybe 2/4 in a span of like multiple. After winning, they won back-to-back, and then they went into a long kind of prolonged drought at the World Juniors. So maybe it's a good sign that they're starting to come out of it here a little bit.
Well, maybe I wonder about the World Junior. Like maybe it's recency bias. this has been an abject failure in Minnesota this year in terms of selling the tournament. It's been absolutely brutal. And now we get it back in Edmonton again for, I'm not sure what this is. This is the third or fourth time since COVID.
Yeah. Well, one year there was no crowds though. So
once there's no crowds, another year they started, they couldn't finish. I mean, I get it. I wonder, I guess it's fair to me. Is there fatigue here in Edmonton? Are guys buying tickets again for this thing? Hopefully they are. I wonder about the World Junior, if it's running because it started, they charge you NHL prices a lot of these days.
That's the challenge, man. Like they have to be realistic here. The consumer is not an idiot. You can't just say, well, you know what, it's Canadian pride. So you know what, we're going to host it in Canada so we can make a lot of money for it. And you know what, hey, it's good hockey. Don't get me wrong, but
of course it's good hockey.
The cost is a little rich.
Right.
No question.
But you know what's going to happen here in Edmonton? It'll be, if it's rich cost in mini, it's going to be rich cost plus 40% in Edmonton. So I'm not even predicting what's going to happen, and I'm not hoping for either whatever. I think it's fair to register a little bit of concern about this tournament. It seems like it only works in Canada, and let's hope that it works again in Edmonton next year, because it ain't working anywhere else. They play this thing in Europe and nobody goes. They play it in quote unquote the state of hockey, and that's as poorly attended a World Junior as I've seen that I can remember. Last time they had one in Boston, which is the other part of U.S. that's really a big hockey hotbed, it died a miserable death there too. So I just question about the tournament. You can't have it in Canada every year, Jay. It's got to move around, but it doesn't seem to do well anywhere outside our borders.
Yeah. You look at, there's times over in Europe it does pretty well. I do think the lack of Canadians traveling right now compared to how they have in previous years definitely impacted this in Minnesota. A lot of people, it used to be like, hey, you know what, we're going to go watch it. It's kind of a little bit of a family holiday, a group of holidays, and just not a lot of people going to the U.S. right now, man. And not a lot of people are traveling elsewhere. That's just how it goes. And when your biggest consumer decides not to go, well, guess what? You have a lot of empty seats. And so that's what happened. Yeah, they're going to have to look at it. No question. Now, there were some people who were in the seats who probably wanted a refund on Saturday, Spec, because that was not a good performance by the Edmonton Oilers.
No, they're going through it a little bit here. There's two things, right? They're a one-man team offensively. It's Connor McDavid and a bunch of guys that aren't helping. And the other side of it is defensively, they're giving up way too much. This is the 29th ranked defensive team in the National Hockey League, Jay, as you know, right? 29th. There's only 32 teams in the league. So that's, we can all find things to complain about with the Edmonton Oilers. But the one thing I know for sure is you don't win jack when you're giving up 3.4 goals a night. They will not.
That's their problem.
That's got to get sorted before anything else gets sorted. If they keep giving up goals, then we're halfway through a season. They're 29th in the league. If that doesn't get better, we're all going to be having a much longer summer than we had the last 2 years. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh God. Yeah, no, they've got to, I wrote about it today at Oilers Nation. Like they are leaking goals defensively, and people can talk about the kid line and, Draisaitl's got to produce more. Like Draisaitl's had 4 games where he's been slow. Prior to that, he's fine. So, but to me, it's the one consistent has been their goals against. They had a little stretch of 10 games in December where it looked like maybe they found it, but the wheels have fallen off since then again.
Yeah, they have. And it's not goaltending, right? It's not goaltending. Like they're getting just fine. What's Connor Ingram is giving you 3 out of his 4 starts have been what they call quality starts. I saw I saw what Woodley was saying about Pickard, right? He's been fantastic, over the last month or whatever the time frame is. So it's not goaltending. You can't keep leaning on the goalies in this town. It's defensive play, right? It's structure. It's play by their best defensemen. There was one of the Boston game and the Philly game for that matter. You got $20 million in defensemen between Nurse and Bouchard, and those 2 guys were abysmal defensively. I don't care what they do offensively. They were abysmal defensively. And you can't have $20 million of defensemen playing like a $2 million defenseman, because you'll lose almost every time. And that's what's going on with Edmonton right now to a large extent.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Kasperi Kapanen will return to the lineup, or is scheduled to return to the lineup tomorrow for the Edmonton Oilers. Spec, what's your expectations for him?
I mean, listen, Kasperi Kapanen's a third-line player. He's going to play in the second line, but he's a third-line player. And when you're a good team and he's on your third line, or if with the Oilers in the playoffs last couple of years, sometimes your fourth line, that means you're really good. Like, he's a good depth player, in my opinion. He adds speed to your team. You know, he's a bit of a clutch guy. He seems to come up with a play, man. You know, he scored that huge goal for Finland as a junior. He scored that huge goal in Vegas and into the series last year. There's a clutch goal in this guy. I got a lot of time for Kasperi Kapanen. He's a veteran who bounced around and finally figured it out. And now he's become a valuable depth guy here for not a big price tag. So he makes you better. There's no question about that. He's not a second-line player, Jay. He's coming in with Draisaitl tomorrow, but he won't last up there. That's just not what he is. But if Kasperi Kapanen's playing, you're a better team than you were when he wasn't. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Well, he helps you in a lot of ways with speed and some physicality. Can really shoot the puck. And, he'll come in and he should add some juice to the team. He hasn't played since October. He's frothing at the mouth to play, similar to Jake Wallman. I had a lengthy chat with Jake today in the dressing room, and, he'll be playing next week. I would guess it might be in Nashville because they play back-to-back Chicago, Monday, Tuesday, Chicago, Nashville, and usually don't bring a guy back to play both of the back-to-back games. So
yeah, fair.
I can see him next Tuesday. And before then, Spec, like with Kapanen gets activated tomorrow, I would expect Hudson goes to the minors and Jari goes to LTIR because that frees up enough space for them. Now, when Jari goes to LTIR, they could then just activate Wallman the following week because they would have the cap space needed for that. And because Jari's eventually coming back, so that's only putting it's putting lipstick on the pig. Eventually, they're going to have to move out $3.4 million of cap space. And obviously, the obvious one is the 3.6 on Mangiapane. So my question is, do you think he gets dealt before next Tuesday when Wallman comes in?
Well, listen, he's been on the market here for over a week, right? And now, we're hearing like Dylan Strome on Anaheim. Well, he makes $5 million. So that I don't possibly see how that works. It's pretty clear there's no one that's just willing to take Andrew Mangiapane's cap hit and walk. Like, I'm telling you right now, Stan Bowman would trade him for future considerations, aka nothing, just to get rid of the cap hit, because he's got a cap issue here. He needs to move money. So that's clearly not a possibility for Stan. He can't do that. So now he's got to try to figure out, how can I get rid of some cap space? How can I move this player? What can I take the least possible I can take back? He's in a pickle. He's got an expensive player that's not productive. And no one, if you don't want him, why the heck would anyone else want him? Like, I'm not even talking about Frederic, who's making the same money. As I said on Kev's show this morning, why don't you trade Frederic for Mangiapane? Oh, wait a sec. I guess you can't. But, tomorrow night, they're going to be side by each sharing a bag of popcorn in the press box by the looks of it.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's, that's what it looked like today at the skates. And you know what, it's an interesting one. Like, I know there's a lot of people, and I get it. They're like, I'm done with Frederic. He's never going to play again. And I'm like, man, people said that about Connor Brown after 40 games too. And there's lots of guys that have crap years and then bounce back. And some guys have multiple crap years and never bounce back. That's a fact. So I don't know. I can't say with certainty which way it's going. I can't think that Frederic is just like falling off the map that bad. Like, I watch a guy right now, Spec, like, if confidence was below zero, that's where his would be at. Like, even watch him in practice. He just looks like a guy who's just beaten down right now.
It's hard being Trent Frederic. Like, think of the human being a little bit. He comes to a new city. Everybody in this town knows who he is and what he looks like and how many points he has. Right? Yeah. He's not walking around in Newport Beach and Anaheim. He's walking around in Edmonton. And every single person in this city looks, oh, that's Trent Frederic. That's the guy that they signed for 8 years. That's no good. Like, it ain't easy being him right now. But you know what? I feel for the guy. But you know what? You sign the contract. That's part of what you sign up for right there. You come to Edmonton. Everybody knows who you are. And production is expected of you when you sign an 8-year deal. I'm sure that he feels awful for having signed this deal. And he's letting his team down. He hasn't done a thing for this new team that he just signed up with. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he feels terrible. But all of that, you know what? it's the big leagues here. It's pro sports. It's not about how you feel or your emotions or your feelings or any of that stuff, right? It's about production. And I'm with you, Jay. I can't see that he's fallen off this bad forever. But I'll tell you this, even Connor Brown was out there skating around, killing penalties, throwing a hit, doing some stuff. Nothing went in for him for the longest time. But you did leave the rink saying, you know what? Connor Brown was zipping around out there a little bit and doing some stuff. I can't remember the last time I left the rink and said, you know what, Trent Frederic, he's on the verge of something good happening because he really looked tonight like he was close. I haven't seen that in ages, man. Have you?
No, not at all. Right. Like Frederic is not, he's talked about, hey, I got to move my feet. Well, and you know what? Yeah, you got to move your feet and really believe in it and just go. And honestly, Spec, like best case scenario for him is the 3-week Olympic break allows a reset. Because I don't see it coming before then. I think maybe you just go away and go do something and try to have some fun and inject some life. Like, hey, your life could be much worse than it is being an NHL player who's struggling. Like, I know it feels like it's the worst, but trust me, there's much worse things that can happen to a player, and a little bit of maybe just some time away, go on a beach, do whatever hell he needs to do, and maybe that's you come back and say, okay, new season here, right? That's how you have to approach it. There's no other way they can. It's going back to the Oilers team defense spec. I don't love the passive defensive zone coverage that they've been playing. I don't think it's working. Right? They're like, yeah, we're going to take away the slot, but you give up time and space too much in the defensive zone for the Edmonton Oilers. And it's, to me, you gotta improve because it's been a significant step back from the last 2 years.
It reminds me of, when we criticize the Oilers offense for being a perimeter group that tosses it around the edges and doesn't get it inside. Now I'm watching other teams play the Oilers in the Oilers defensive zone, and I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing an Oilers team that stays in tight and lets them throw it around the outside, but they got the puck in the Edmonton zone for so long. Like it's what do they always say? All the analytics that come out, all the stats are the best defenseman is the guy that's barely ever defending because the puck's not in his zone. And they're spending a ton of time. You have the stats service that would probably be able to tell you in terms of minutes spent in their own end, but certainly my eye test says they're getting pinned in their own zone far more often. And eventually that just can't be good. You can tell me, yeah, we're keeping them to the outside and yeah, we're not giving up shots from the slot. You can tell me all that stuff. All I'm seeing is the other team's in your zone for the whole shift. That's what I'm seeing. And when you get it, what happens? You're so tired, you chuck it out, change, and they come right back at you. So, yeah, I want aggressive defensive play. Take a puck away. Take a man. Put a guy on his rear end and get the puck and get north with it. They don't pay Connor McDavid to defend. And right now he's defending way too much.
Yeah, that is very true. One name spec. Now, this would be a significant deal, but the name that I've heard out there a bit that people are, and because you know what, teams talk, and just because you talk doesn't mean anything occurs.
Yep.
But Jake DeBrusk in Vancouver, it hasn't worked out there for him. Now it looks like they're kind of going into a rebuild. I don't think that's what he signed up for. And he does have a say in where he goes, not a complete say, but he has a no movement clause. I don't know if he'd waive it to come to Edmonton. I guess I could ask his dad, but it's kind of a personal question. But either way, you look at that, and I just wonder here. I think Stan Bowman's got a lot of balls up in the air looking to try to improve his team.
Well, he does. Jake DeBrusk got 5 years left at 5.5. So
4.5 years, basically. Yeah. This year plus 4.
This year plus 4 more. Excuse me. You're right. 4 years after this one. So I guess my question sort of becomes how do you find the math and work the math out on that? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't mind Jake. I mean, what do we think Jake is? Jake's a middle six winger in my books, right? Could he come in and play next to Leon Draisaitl?
Yeah, I think Jake DeBrusk could play next to Connor McDavid. Like, to me, if you're a complimentary top six winger, and that's not a knock on players. That's one of the things. He's not a driver of a line. I think he'd probably be the first guy to tell you that. That's not his game, but he can shoot the puck. And what's interesting is I was looking at like the centers he played with. He never really played with an overly quick center, right? Even in Boston, right? Like Krejci wasn't a burner, right? No. And It's success there. So I do think for sure he could probably fit in with Draisaitl. But I think Draisaitl and McDavid really, they need a guy like a Podkolzin and a Hyman who's just relentless on the puck, and they get them the puck, and that helps out a lot. The other winger has to be someone who can move the puck quickly. And yeah, you got to be a big shooter, but you have to be able to move the puck quick. And I look at, it's why Jeff Skinner didn't work out. It's why Mangiapane doesn't work out. It's why Arvidsson didn't work out. They hold on to the puck too long. And it's hard. I know it's just move the puck. No, you got to see the play and react right away. It doesn't happen all the time. And so it's like, I think Ike Howard, if Ike Howard is going to play with them, he's going to have to move the puck quicker. That's just a fact. It's not a knock. It's just a fact. And so one thing I haven't dug deep into Jake's game to know yet if he's a real quick distributor of the puck.
You make an excellent point. I mean, as I want to add this, I agree with you that both those centermen need a hard work and puck retrieving, work the slot guy like Hyman and Podkolzin. The difference is Hyman scores lots of goals. Podkolzin is playing his way off of Leon Draisaitl's wing, in my opinion. He's not enough. He's not a top six winger, right? And Leon, as we watch Leon Draisaitl with one even strength goal since December 1st, he's having a bit of a slump. I'm not here to criticize Leon Draisaitl. He's 50 goal, 100 point man, but he hasn't got much help around here. Roslovic has been a lot of help, but Podkolzin I'm starting to wonder. But back to Jake DeBrusk, you're totally right. If you think you're going to play the wing with McDavid and Draisaitl and you're going to be the one that carries the puck through the neutral zone, right? Those guys carry the puck through the neutral zone. That's how it works.
And it's not even just in the neutral zone spec. Like I would watch Jeff Skinner in the offensive zone, and there was that and in the NHL, you've got like a half second window and it closes if you don't move the puck. And I watch Skinner sometimes, and the guy had a very good career being successful doing something. And the Oilers pro scouts, the thing they need to look at when it comes to, hey, which guy do we think can fit here? Because three guys are basically the same guy, different name that haven't fit because they don't move the puck quick enough. Right? They get it and they want to have that extra stick because that's worked for them on other teams. It doesn't work in Edmonton because you've got two guys. If you get them the puck, they will create tons of plays that most other players can't play. That's just a fact. So you got to get guys who even not just to the neutral zone. We all know they're going to carry the puck. To me, it's more in the offensive zone. When you get it, you see the play and you make the play.
Smart. You got to be smart to play with smart players. That's why Nugent Hopkins works so well with we all talk about how, geez, you could use a better shooter. You could use that, but he's such a smart player. He sees the ice. He moves the puck. He furnishes McDavid with it when he needs it. He's wide open for it when McDavid's looking to get rid of it. Like Nuge just works on that line. And I can see how Knobloch is hesitant to move Nugent Hopkins off that line because right now it's his only line. He's got one line that scores. So if I'm coaching a team, I ain't taking that line apart either. But I feel like Draisaitl deserves a little bit more of that on his wings. He needs some intelligence. He needs some puck moving. He needs to be able to, to hold. He wants to hold that puck in the offensive zone. He wants to cycle it. He wants to move it. I don't know if he's got the guys playing with him to do it. So you know what? Like some of the, Mangiapane was supposed to be a top six player here. Well, he's not. So that's a hole, right?
Yes. Oh, 100%. It's a hole for sure.
You make plans in the summer, and you know what they say, Jay? You build your team in the summer, and then you augment it at the deadline. Well, when a couple of building blocks like Frederic and Mangiapane fall flat, you got holes, man. And Stan Bowman is in hole filling mode right now. He's trying to figure out how to fill those two holes that he created. And let's see how he does. Let's see how he does. But those could be fatal holes in this Edmonton Oilers season. Right? Yeah. Those could be fatal holes.
Yeah, for sure. Spec, have yourself an enjoyable night. Enjoy the gold medal game, and we'll talk some Predators. And, hey, you know what? You talk about a guy who hasn't scored as much, but Mr. Predator, Leon Draisaitl, who has
oh, yeah, that's right. He's good for a few tomorrow.
21 goals, 39 points his last 15 games against the Preds. He likes playing against them, so
he does.
This could be the tonic to get him going.
Just what it means. He's got another one in Nashville next week. So you know what? I thought no one liked Nashville better than me, and then Leon Draisaitl came along.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very, very true. Spec, we'll talk to you tomorrow, man. Have a good one.
All right.
It's Mark Spector, the Spec Report brought to you by GS construction. And yeah, that's right. Those numbers from Draisaitl are wild. We'll take a quick break. We will return. We're going to hear from Chris Knobloch on some, what's his team got to do better defensively. We'll find out from the coach next. It's Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up.
Predators.
Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free
hey, you know what? You
bet
talk about
when
a guy
they make
who
a
hasn't
minimum
scored as much,
$50 deposit with code
Mr.
Gregor50.
Predator.
That's code
Leon
Gregor50
Draisaitl.
for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Think your credit's not good enough for a new ride? Think again.
Little game,
Go
and
Auto's
we'll
car
talk
loan
some
calculator
Predators.
is here to help.
And
No
hey, you know what? You talk-
commitments, no credit hits, just real answers. You tell us a few things, and we'll show you what you can afford. Text credit to 780-777-7777. That's credit to 780 all sevens. Go Auto. We do the math, so you can do the driving.
Hi, it's Mandy from Jack's Drive-In. Join us in January and celebrate the new year with our legendary half-price banana splits. Or even better, 2-for-1 banana splits. Customize your split like you always can at Jack's with any of our famous Sunday toppings. Click jacksdrivein.ca.
This month in Sports History Moment is brought to you by Discount Diesel Parts.
January 18th, 2022. Boston Bruins retire Willie O'Ree's number 22. Willie O'Ree became the NHL's first black hockey player when he took to the ice with the Boston Bruins on January 18th, 1958. Ree's number 22 was raised to the rafters before a home game at TD Garden on the 64th anniversary of his first NHL game.
Hi, folks. This is Big Al from Discount Diesel Parts. With over 70 years' experience, Interstate McBee is a leader in the heavy-duty diesel engine parts industry. And as an authorized dealer for over 20 years, we've been serving customers with those high-quality parts. Gasket kits, water and oil pumps, turbos, fuel injectors, heads, in-frame kits, and at a great price, too. Reach us at discountdiesel.ca and know that Discount Diesel's got the parts to get it done.
Did you know the Brick is proudly Canadian owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Visit thebrick.com and use our store locator to find a Brick store near you.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's been 1 week, you looked at me. Got your head to the side, I'm hungry. 5 days you laughed at me, saying, get that together, come back and see me. 3 days.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda. 59 years and counting as St. Albert and surrounding areas' premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Gonna make a break and take a pick out like a sink and they can shake out like vanilla. It's the finest of the flavors. Gonna see the showcase and you'll know the vertigo is gonna go because it's so dangerous. You'll have to sign away.
Oh, welcome back, Gregor. Gregor Paulson with you, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca on a Monday afternoon. Tomorrow, a little Nashville Predator visit to Rogers Place, and the Oilers are in Winnipeg for a one-game road trip, kind of an odd little stretch. Then they're home again to take on the LA Kings. That will be, if you're going to that game on Saturday night, that will be Leon Draisaitl 1,000-point honor night as they were waiting for his family to be able to get in, and Peter and Sandra, as well as his sister Kim, will all be, and maybe even Kim's family will be in town, arriving. I think Peter might be coming in for the. Well, no, they'll be in on the 8th or the 9th, and then so they'll be there for that game on the 10th, and probably stick around as the Oilers got a lot of home games. Then they're in Chicago, Nashville for 2, home for the Islanders, in Vancouver, and then they from the 18th to the end of the month, they got 7 consecutive home games, basically Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Blues, Devils, Penguins, Capitals, Ducks, Sharks, Wild, and really the Oilers will start to get into to February, and really not until March or April. Then they got a lot of games against Pacific Division teams. Right, you do have the Kings and the Canucks here on back-to-back Saturdays, and then the Sharks and the Ducks. But they got a lot of games against the Pacific Division that'll be coming up in March and April, and ultimately that's probably going to decide the Pacific Division, which is a little bit of a turtle race right now, as no division has fewer points for their leading team, which is the Golden Knights and the Oilers, each with 46. Ducks have 45. Seattle, LA, and San Jose have 43. So it is it's really tight. Flames at 40, and the Canucks, of course, at 37. Now let's get to the oil report, brought to you by Go Auto. The new year's here. Maybe you're thinking about a vehicle. Over 15,000 to choose from. Over 69 different locations. You want it? They got it. GoAuto.ca. And Chris Knobloch just talking about his team, and quick starts with an update on Kapanen, and then gets into Walman.
It looks like it. We'll see how he feels after the practice. He'll get evaluated, and then he'll get the full clearing. But right now, it looks like he's pretty good.
Jake Walman.
Jake was not ready. Guessing sometime next week, probably when we're playing that 2-game road trip. Maybe before it, maybe after, but that's kind of mid next week is what we're looking at.
Chris, the last couple games, you guys are giving up a few more goals than you probably want. What do you think the difference has been in December? You guys did a pretty good job of kind of keeping goals against average down there.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit of luck, whether the pucks hit the goal post or go in, or the type of chances we're giving up. I think we can tighten up a little bit, maybe make an extra save too. Just a lot of variables. I don't think there's one thing that we can say that if we do this, it'll eliminate it. I think there's a lot of factors, and one of them just being a little more engaged, or the intensity being a little bit higher, just so we're defending a little bit harder.
Yeah, and Mark was just sick yesterday. Is that what he was saying?
Yes.
Important for Connor Ingram to have a bounce back game. He started out really well here, and the last one maybe didn't go the way he wanted to.
Yeah, I think overall his starts have been pretty solid. A couple of those games, or one of them anyways, was probably one of our better games that we played defensively. But overall, he's put in a pretty good showing. That one game, no, it wasn't. But he'll get to redeem himself eventually and get to play 1 or 2 more games.
How do you see that thing shaking down between him and?
It'll play itself out. Both goalies will have numerous starts before Jari's back. Jari's going to be a little while yet, but I don't think we have to make a decision right now.
Jack Roslovic's been kind of put in different spots here the last few games. During that stretch, have you learned anything in terms of, where you think he's going to be best suited here for tomorrow or maybe the next little bit?
I think he's best suited playing right wing, and whether that's on the second line or third line, but I definitely think he's best playing right side. I do think he's a player that can fill in and play center when we need him. But I think right now with Kapanen coming in, now you got to put Roslovic on the third line. Now you got a lot more scoring options. You got 3 lines with somebody who can put the puck in the net on 3 lines, at least one on each line. So gives us a little more of a balanced scoring.
What do you think Kapanen's going to bring to that line? What do you hope he brings?
I think one is speed, some physicality, but also a guy that can, he can score. Like, you look at the type of player he is, there's no reason, playing for a full season, he's not scoring 15 or maybe 20 goals in the year. That's the type of player we expect from him. And, he can play with skill. He can be tenacious, especially on the forward check. There's a lot of good attributes that he brings. And, he's coming back. He hasn't played for a couple months now. To say that he's going to come in and he's going to be an all-star, I think that's being a little optimistic. But I definitely think that he will help us right away, and he should be building this game also.
You look at where you're at. We probably haven't played as well as you would like as a team, I think, for your standards internally. But you're right there atop the division with Vegas and Anaheim, and now you got a month of games where a very favorable schedule. Really important for your team to kind of take advantage of this and maybe kind of turn your season around and get going in the direction you want.
Oh, definitely, it would be nice to win some games, especially when we're playing at home. It's very favorable that we're at home because we do have a better record and we're not traveling, and hopefully we can take advantage of the teams that are traveling and a little bit tired coming into our rink. But that being said, we still can't just rely on our time that we're at home. We got to go on the road and put up some wins there too. But the teams that we're battling with right now aren't winning a lot of games either. So that'll change. They'll figure things out, because I think all those teams that we're kind of neck and neck with are good teams. And it's important that we win as many games as we can.
Yes. Got to get some victories. No question, for the Edmonton Oilers. Some interesting thoughts from the coach about, to me, like we talked about earlier in the show. I have found that the Oilers, desperation, an urgency in the offensive zone. I find at times they're too passive. You can focus on, we don't want to give up slot shots, but if you give up time and space all over the ice, you're still going to get burnt. And it's kind of what I've seen. Edmonton hasn't checked with the enthusiasm and the necessity to win on a nightly basis. And it's led to their numbers. Like, did you know the St. Louis Blues, freaking Blues have won 2 in a row. They just won back-to-back games. And if the Blues win their next game, the Edmonton Oilers will be the last team in the NHL to win 3 games in a row. Yeah, you can go 2-1, and I know it's just they haven't shown any momentum. And the Blues have 3 days off, and then they play Chicago. So, I could see them winning on Wednesday. That would be their 3rd consecutive win. And that would leave Edmonton as the only team who's yet to do it all season long. And it's a small thing, but it just shows to me a lack of ability to maintain any sort of consistency in their season thus far. And that is, that's not good. So there's lots of areas for them to improve on, and we'll see kind of where they go from here. They were playing really well in December up until the break. And really up until the 29th of December. And then they just, New Year's came, and then the new year, and it's just been, maybe it's just 2 games. But, even before that, they were winning some games by not scoring, other than McDavid. So you need a lot of other guys to get going offensively. But to me, the biggest concern, defense, and really the lack of it. You cannot give up as many goals as the Oilers do on a nightly basis. Like, here's the number for you. Last year, the Edmonton Oilers allowed 4 or more goals 25 times. We've played half the season, and the Oilers have allowed 4 or more goals in 45% of their games. 19 out of 42. Last year was 30%. That's the main reason. You cannot win giving up 4 all the time. And it's not just goalies. They're 29th in expected goals against at 5-on-5. It's not just the goalies. They got to be better as a team. Take a final break. We'll come back, wrap things up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm getting McDonald's. You want anything?
Oh, yeah. I'll get I'm obviously going to get the McVeggie, medium fries and a medium fountain drink for $9.99. It's my favorite meal, and it's new. Plus, if I get that, maybe he'll want it too. And then he'll always thank me for introducing him to the McVeggie. I'll be a hero.
So, McVeggie fries and drink?
How'd you know?
You were thinking out loud again. Get yourself a McVeggie meal for just $9.99 plus tax for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vimy and Donnan have to offer. Visit vimyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
When it snows and you have a Honda, let it blow, let it blow, let it blow. Ditch the driveway shovel because right now at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo, save up to $400 on Honda dual-stage snowblowers. Take whatever winter throws at you and throw it back with iconic Honda reliability. Available for a limited time only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert and always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian and 69-cent wings, plus play score and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We count down the final segment of the show. Welcome back. Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, casino, live dealer, lottery, instance, and of course, Lotto Max tomorrow. $50 million and 2 Max Millions. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And we have the Capitals winning by 2 and Mrazek with 25 saves. Well, the Capitals are leading 2-1 after 20 minutes and have already fired 11 shots. So it's a good start. Good start. Now, not a good look. Not a good start for the New York Rangers. The score is 0-0 on home ice. That's not a big surprise. But Mr. Shesterkin left that game in a serious amount of discomfort. Couldn't put any weight on his leg. JJ Peterka went hard to the net, crashed into him. Shesterkin played basically 13 minutes of the game, then left. Jonathan Quick is now in. They got the E-Bug on the bench. And the Rangers, who were not having a good season to start, and were ranked, 15th out of 16 teams. They played the most games of anybody in the NHL so far. And now they might lose their all-star goaltender. Ouch. But that did not look good for Igor Shesterkin. So we won't obviously get an official announcement until later, but that is not good news for the New York Rangers. Them and I think it's them and the Red Wings who have played the most games. Also the Blues as well. So you hope, man, you just hope that, you know what, it looks worse than it actually is. But usually when the goalie's going off like that and needs that much help, it's not good. So some sad news for a longtime Edmonton radio broadcaster, Bruce Bowie, passed away. Well, actually, just found this out, but passed away in a pedestrian accident late in 2025, and the news just kind of coming out. So that's unfortunate, obviously for Bruce and his wife and children. So very unfortunate. He was around Edmonton for a long time. So thoughts for anybody who worked with Bruce or listened to him and knew him. Very, very tragic for sure. Hey, boys, bigger question. Why haven't Frederic, Mangiapane, and Arvidsson not worked out? It seems like there's a bigger problem here from the other bald Jay. and I understand that viewpoint. They haven't worked out, no question. But Kane worked out. Hyman worked out. Podkolzin's worked out. Roslovic has worked out. So some will and some won't. Not every free agent signing is just going to be bang. Like, we can go around the league to every team. Like, if everybody thinks all the free agents work out, like, it's not happening, right? It's not how it goes. Now, obviously in Edmonton, that's the team you care about, as you should. I understand it. And you do wonder, like, it shows a few things. Like, certain types of players are going to play better in Edmonton. But Edmonton needs a winger who can score, but I'm a big believer there's got to be a winger who can move the puck quick. And Mangiapane, Skinner, Arvidsson, they were all guys, just that little set. Arvidsson probably the least of them. But Mangiapane, you see him watch, like, the play's there, and there's just that extra half second, and then the gap that was there closes, and now the pass gets knocked down, and the play is dead. We'll see. Hey, Gregor, why wouldn't you try Howard, Szymanski, and Hudson as a line? Use the AHL chemistry. Kid line. You say it can't be a third liner, especially when our current bottom six has done zip from Chomskers. Well, I'm not the coach, but here's the thing. So Josh Szymanski's in his first year playing in North America. He's looking pretty good in the American League. Awesome. But, like, the American League is not the NHL. We've seen this time and time again. And I know that, people reference the kid line, but I think you kind of forget that the kid line for the Oilers in 1990 was Joe Murphy, who wasn't a rookie, right? It was a young line, but they weren't rookies, right? Marty Jelena was the rookie. But the other guys that played pro, like, these guys are all rookies. It's going to be very hard to play three rookies on a line in the NHL and think you're going to have success. It's unrealistic. No one does it. Because why? It's really hard. It's hard for a rookie to play in the NHL. Never mind three on the same line. You got to remember when they did it, Joe Murphy and Adam, those guys weren't rookies, right? It was the kid line, and it worked out incredibly well for Edmonton. Awesome. But they weren't rookies. All right. So I think that's something that maybe gets overlooked a little bit. Right? They didn't have a ton of experience. I get it. But still, like Murphy had played 50 games in one season, and then he played 26. And then that year in Edmonton, got traded from Detroit to Edmonton and played 71. And he'd even played playoff games before, for goodness sakes, as a member of the Detroit Red Wings. So, no, I just don't think it's feasible to say, hey, we got this line in the American League that's really good. Let's come play him up in the NHL. Like, no. Adam Henrique at this stage, I believe, is a fourth line center iceman. Now, it doesn't help that he's in a 34 games now? 35, I don't even know, without a goal. And I don't care how many years you've been in the league. It's the longest drought of his career. It weighs on you. But I think as a fourth line center, he could still be fine. But I agree, he's definitely not producing like a third line center right now. And there's not, I don't think there's much chance. I think if you're a cup contending team, he's your fourth line center, you like your team. If he's your third line center, I'm not loving my team. That's kind of how I go with it. So, and the other thing is, what, Mangiapane, Skinner, and Arvidsson, as I said, I thought they were just the same player, different name. Smaller guys, not overly quick. Case of Mangiapane and Arvidsson fell down a lot, and kind of later parts of their career didn't get him at the best time either. So that definitely plays a factor. On behalf of Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson, you missed any parts of the show, you go to jasongregor.com, or you can go to YouTube and rewatch the show. We got some shorts there and much more. So check it out. Hit the subscribe button while you're there on our YouTube page at Sports 1440. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday evening. Enjoy the gold medal game if you're watching it. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Going to do a lot of work lately, so take care of it. Get a new one. LegacyHeating.ca. Good night.
Edmonton Oilers news as they have loaned forward Quinn Hudson to the Bakersfield Condors. World Junior Hockey Championship bronze medal game from earlier saw Canada capturing that bronze 6-3 over Finland. The gold medal game set to drop the puck, in about half an hour's time here between Sweden and Czechia. NHL scoreboard, Mammoth and Rangers, that one tied 0-0 at the end of the first, but Igor Shesterkin leaving that game after a collision with JJ Peterka. Ducks trail the Caps 2-1 at the end of the first, and the Sens lead the Red Wings 1-0. In the NBA, 3 games on right now. The Pistons currently leading the Knicks 47-42 with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Celtics up 20-11 on the Bulls, and the Raptors lead the Hawks big 18-6 in the first quarter. AJHL action tonight, Drayton Valley and Calgary with a 7 p.m. puck drop, and news around the sporting world as the Arizona Cardinals have fired head coach Jonathan Gannon after going 15-36 in 3 seasons. The Raiders have fired Pete Carroll after 1 season, and the Cleveland Browns have fired 2-time Coach of the Year Kevin Stefanski. Todd Mattingly has joined the Philadelphia Phillies as the team's new bench coach. He parted ways with the Blue Jays after 3 seasons in the same role in November. And in the CFL, Riders defensive lineman Micah Johnson has retired but will stay with the club as a defensive line coach. On behalf of Donovan Paulson and Jason Gregor, I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.